Hello everyone, this is your friend from Naruto Audio Fanfics, and we are back once again with a brand new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto inherited his father's secret training, awakened 3 bloodlines, and built a legendary harem with Kurenai Yuhi, Hinata Hyuga, Ino Yamanaka and Yugao Azuki, Part 1. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to hit the like button, thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing Naruto fanfics like this. So without wasting any more time, let's start today's fanfic. It was one sunny day in the hidden village of the Leaf. Most villagers are busy with their own businesses. It was perfect as the others say, but to the one named Uzumaki Naruto, it was another part of the story. In the middle of the forest a 5+ years old blonde with a pair of cerulean eyes stood. If a stranger would see him he would, no scratch that he will pity the young blonde. His body was bruised, but for him it was okay other than the gash in his right arm. Little that he knew, his body was on the process of healing itself due to the demon inside of him. But before the process was complete, "Hey, what are you doing here?" a feminine voice rang out. The young one looked at the spectator with ulterior shock in his face. He hurriedly ran through the forest, but the spectator caught his damaged arm hard enough to stop the blonde from running away, yet careful enough not to cause more damage to his injured arm. "Will you stop that? Look at you, you're hurt," the spectator yelled, trying to calm the boy before her. As the result, the boy did stop. He took his opportunity to glance at his spectator. The young one first saw was her eyes. They were red, almost like ruby, and her wavy shoulder-length black hair. He even commented in his mind that it looked like silk because of the shine it gave whenever the sunlight passed it. He could only guess that this woman was out here to kill or hurt him. But another mental image of him said that he's safe here with her. The woman sighed and kneeled before him. He must be the vessel, she thought. She sighed once again and performed some healing jutsu and took a glance at the boy. From what she saw, the boy had an unexplainable look on his face. She an eyebrow that meant, "What's wrong with you?" kind of look. It only registered to the boy after a couple of seconds. "What are you doing?" he said. I'm healing your wounds." "What does it look like what I'm doing?" the teenager said. "Why? He's really making this difficult anyways. What do you mean, why? Do your parents know what's happening to you?" she said in a caring but deadly tone. This caught the young one off guard. Don't have any parents." The boy stuttered. He was trying not to cry at the mere fact that he was all alone. Well, at least he tried not to cry. She sighed once again. Now before her was a boy trying to win a losing battle. Was he really losing the battle? No, of course not. It's just the beginning. She knelt once again before the boy and hugged him, trying to calm the boy from crying. "It's okay. Don't cry, I know this is difficult for you." She released the boy from the hug and stood up. From her height the blonde was only at her leg level. "To tell you the truth, I really don't know how to cheer you up, and to think that I don't even know your name." At her last statement she smiled at the small boy with a hint of a lie. Anyo sa, Ari arigato, nei-chan." He gave her one of his famous fox-like grin. After seeing this, she already knew that the boy was happy. At the moment he was happy, and now he looks like a nervous shipwreck. Anyo sa, but before he could continue she already cut him off. "Ayeka, that's my name, and as for my surname, it's good for you not to know, Uzumaki-san. Or do you prefer me to call you Naruto-kun?" Naruto at the moment was dumbstruck at Ayeka's statement. It's like as if the said woman was reading him like a book. "How did you knew? What was I going to ask you?" Naruto said, still awed at what had happened earlier. Ayeka, on the other hand, didn't answer his question. She just used her right index finger to point out her right temple. Naruto, being Naruto, was on his thinking position until, "You can read minds," he shouted. Ayeka just placed her hand to her face due to the humiliation Naruto had put her in. "Geez, if someone saw us, I'll die courtesy of my own embarrassment," she thought as they walked outside of the forest. "Naruto-kun, Why won't you go home and rest? Because. She paused, then, grinned. Starting tomorrow, I will personally train you. She said. You're the greatest, Nei-chan. She really thought that he'll be happy, but she never thought he'd be this happy. Do you mind? Could you keep your voice down? Come back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Hi. 7 years ago, in a little clearing inside the forest, two people stood there, or more likely, training in the middle of the forest. It is a place where the Anbu doesn't look out on as a special request from Sandame's friend. On the said secluded training grounds, Shukuchi, one, a boy age of 7, shouted. And soon, numerous patterns of seam-like tornadoes danced on different sides on his opponent, making the earth destroyed in the process. Meanwhile, the said opponent was smirking. Definitely not with arrogance but with pride for her student. Okay, that's enough for today. She said. Today is your first day in the academy, right? She asked her student who was on the process fishing through his backpack. Hi, Ayeka sensei, she smiled at the title he has been calling her for the past 2 years. Aside from Genjutsu, where she specialized the most, she also taught Naruto ninjutsu, taijutsu, and kenjutsu as well. I have enough time to rest before the classes start. He added. That is good. Tell me, Naruto-kun, did you enjoy being my student? And I want an honest answer. She asked. Not looking at the blonde. Naruto just looked at his sensei as if she had forgotten her common sense at her house. Why are you asking me this? You're not going away, are you? Ayeka just sighed. I'll tell you the truth, I'm going away for the meantime, and I promise you I'll come back. With this statement, she slid off her necklace and gave it to her student. Here, I'll come back for this. She said. I'll definitely gonna keep it safe, and that's a promise. He said with great enthusiasm. You never back down to your promises, don't you, Naruto-kun? Ayeka moved closely so that she could be in eye level with the boy. Naruto gulped. Ayeka was closing into his ear. I want you to promise me that you'll only use those techniques if necessary, meaning, don't brag them off. Could you do that for me, Naruto-kun? She moved away and saw that he was blushing. She giggled at the thought and suddenly she shrugged it off. Okay, I can do that. Naruto gave her one of his promising fox grin. Meanwhile, inside the Hokage tower. You want me to do what? Hitaki Kakashi almost shouted in front of the Hokage. It wasn't pretty normal to the ex-Anbu to be as surprised, or even, shocked like this. He didn't even see it coming. Kakashi, just think of it as returning a favor for your sensei, Sandame said. But Hokage-sama, what does sensei got to do with this? Kakashi asked. Sarutobi sighed, at least he could tell him, his friend's student. What I'm about to tell you will be kept only inside these walls, do you understand, Kakashi? The old man said. Surely, enough. Kakashi didn't know what was about to hit him. Of course, Hokage-sama. Good, Sarutobi replied with slight smile. Kakashi, I know you have participated with your sensei during the Kyuubi's attack. He saw the jonin nod. And I know that you know that he sealed it in a newborn baby, Naruto. Yes, Hokage-sama, but, why does he, Naruto, have to live with me? Let me finish, Kakashi. From there, Kakashi didn't interrupt the old man. You see, Kakashi, during that time it was impossible to find a newborn baby. So, in turn your sensei sacrificed his newborn son. The old man waited for the elite jonin to react to the information he got. Hokage-sama, why didn't you tell me about this earlier? None of us knew that sensei had relationship with someone, and yet you're telling me that he has a son. Sarutobi only did was to sigh. Can you do it, Kakashi? The Hokage said in a formal tone and only to meet an expected answer. Of course, Hokage-sama. In not so distant future. Naruto, wake up. Naruto's classmate said. Yumino Iruka, an academy teacher, ranked Chunin, was starting to count mentally. 1, 2, 3, that's it. He unconsciously grabbed the nearest thing he could throw, the eraser. Kiba saw the incoming eraser. He tried to wake his friend but Naruto seemed to not to bother. Kiba moved away when the eraser was about to hit his blonde friend. Naruto, on the other hand, managed to catch the eraser and throw it back to the table instead. Everybody saw Naruto sitting straight, yawning, and still feeling groggy. Naruto saw Kiba with a surprised, shocked look on his face. What happened to you? Naruto asked, still not noticing his other classmates and his dumbstruck teacher. Uzumaki Naruto, Iruka called. Naruto looked at his sensei. Please make at least 3 bushins, Naruto. Naruto stood up, cursing himself for sleeping in the middle of the test. He sighed and soon he was in front of the class. Bushin no jutsu, too, he said. Soon there were at least 12 perfect bushin standing in front of the class. Damn, I overdid it again. Congratulations, you pass. He walked over to Iruka and Mizuki, who handed him his Hita-8. Iruka knew that Naruto would do well for the fact that he was living with his friend, Kakashi, aka Copy Ninja Kakashi. Okay, that's it for today. Tomorrow you will be teamed up to your genin team. You're all dismissed. At the Ichiraku's ramen stand, 4 people were eating or chatting with each other. One of them was Hitaki Kakashi. Next to him was his fellow Junin, Sarutobi Asuma. Next to the chain smoker was the Tokubetsu SP Junin, Mitarashi Anko, who was on the verge of strangling Asuma for smoking in the ramen stand. Next to the Tokubetsu Junin was Konoha's Genjutsu specialist, Yuahi Kurenai. I can't believe this. Can't you at least stop smoking for just 5 minutes? Anko said. Huh. Did you say something? Asuma said. And now you're acting like Kakashi. Kurenai only sighed at the scene. After all, she was used to see her best friend act like this almost every time. While Kakashi, on the other hand, was looking away until he saw a familiar young blonde coming to his way. Konnichiwa, Ni-san. This caught the attention of the other Junins and Tokubetsu Junin for Anko's case. Ah, Naruto-kun, what will be it for today? The head chef asked. Miso ramen please. Naruto replied as he sat next to Kakashi. 1 miso ramen coming up. The head chef said in an energetic tone. I heard that you passed the genin exam. Congratulations, Odoto. Kakashi said. Arigato, Ni-san, Naruto said with sheepish grin on his face while he scratched the back of his head. Are you excited to know who will be your teammates and Junin instructor, Naru-kun? Kurenai asked with a smile, emphasizing Naruto's nickname. She was the only one who had called him that, at least as far as he can remember. Unknown to him, he let out a small blush on both cheeks. He bent his head and scratched the back his head once again, which the women counted as kawaii. Kakashi knew his Odoto's crush towards his fellow Junin ever since he first saw her back when she was still a rookie Chunin. After seeing this, Anko decided to tease the young blonde at the moment. She stood up and sat next to Naruto. Everybody in the ramen stand saw her stand, including the head chef, Ichiraku Tsuki, as this his real name, and his daughter, Ichiraku Ayame. What were they about to see was beyond imaginable, as though they thought. Naruto saw Anko stood and sat next to him. Was she whispering something to me? Nah, can't be, but why is she so close to me? I think she whispered something about congratulating me or something. Was she telling me to close my eyes? That must be it. There he was sitting next to the hot and still single, oh, did I forgot to mention deadly, Mitarashi Anko. She was closing in, and the only thing that Naruto knew, he was kissing the Mitarashi Anko. What the heck? Kurenai and Ayame thought. Pedophile. Kakashi and Asuma thought. Naruto. Tasty, Anko thought with a smirk. Lucky guy. Bystanders. You know, it's very rude to stare, Naruto-kun. Anko said, still with a grin. Naruto was still speechless, or rather he blacked out. Kakashi started to worry for his Odoto, who hadn't replied for a couple of seconds. Oi Naruto, are you alright? Kakashi started to shake his little brother. After 5 seconds Naruto nodded. Naruto changed his direction to his miso ramen and started to chow it in just 2 minutes. Everybody looked at him as if this came from the kiss, but rest assured that wasn't his first kiss. He took out his Gama-chan and paid his meal miraculously. He only ate a single bowl. Thank you for the going no Jane, he said without a pause. After his meal, he ran away back to his apartment. At Naruto's apartment, Naruto slumped back to his bed, waiting for Mr. Slumber to pass by. Tomorrow I'll be in a jonin team, he said to no one in particular. First meetings. The night was still dominant. From this darkness, a lone figure walked across a path. The said figure was walking, then stopped. In front of him was a woman in her early 20s, as he thought. He was facing her back. From there he could see her messy shoulder-length black hair. She was wearing a purple yukata. The said figure watched the woman. She slowly turned. He saw the sight of her enticing ruby eyes, and once again, she stopped only to reveal a part of her face. Naruto, on the other hand, couldn't register who the woman was. Naruto, he heard her say. He couldn't muster a single word from his mouth. Naruto. He couldn't reply once again. Naruto. Again. Naruto. Again. Naruto. What's going on? Naruto looked around only to find his friend Kiba staring at him. Kiba, what the heck are you doing? He asked. Naruto, must you sleep all the time? I see you. Kiba asked. What is it to you anyway? Naruto asked. What do you mean? What is it to me? Care to notice, our team is still waiting for our sensei just like them. Kiba said, pointing out to Team 7, which includes Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, and Aburame Shino. So what team number are we again? Naruto asked, looking innocent as possible. Kiba sighed. He had the urge to whack his friend off his senses while Hinata just giggled. The said dog user just focused himself to reply. We are Team 8, Hinata is also in our team, and do the things that I recently told you register to your mind. Kiba said slowly. Naruto chuckled at his friend. So how long have they been waiting for their sensei? He asked. 2 hours. Wait, did you just say, they? We, too, have been waiting for our sensei. Kiba replied while his pet dog, Akamaru, barked in agreement. Naruto chuckled once again. Kiba and Hinata looked at him as if he'd gone crazy. They watched him form a tiger seal and said, Kai, and soon a blur from the wall came. I take it your Team 8. A woman, probably around 20 years of age, appeared right when Naruto dispelled a genjutsu casted inside the room. Team 8, rather Kiba and Hinata, looked at their Junin sensei with surprised looks in their faces. Meanwhile, everyone's eyes averted to the door, which was starting to open, and soon there was a tall, silver-haired, half-masked, male Junin. Where's Team 7? He asked. You're late. The pink-haired girl, Haruno Sakura, yelled. Naruto only sighed. They better get used to him being late. Sorry I was late, you see, I got lost to the road of life. Kakashi replied. Liar. Sakura yelled once again. Naruto chuckled. Then he started to laugh, hysterically. Kurenai, being the calm and collected as she is, she too couldn't help but to laugh with Naruto. Honestly, Ni-chan, is there really a road called the Road of Life? Naruto asked with a grin on his face. Fine, fine, Team 7, let's just go to the rooftop. With that statement, he disappeared with a whirl of leaves. Shall we go then? Kurenai asked her students, who readily nodded their heads. With Team 8, they reached outside of the academy with their hitai atesh on. Hinata wore her hitai 8 like a necklace while Kiba wore his on his forehead, and Naruto, his was different, he tied it on his left arm, making some of his bangs fall down. Kurenai looked at her students from Kiba to Hinata and then to Naruto. The said woman was leaning against a tree. She watched her first students with a sigh. Not knowing why, she felt nervous over something. As if sensing Kurenai's distress, Naruto asked. Sensei, aren't we supposed to introduce each other? Kurenai smiled inwardly at this. Okay. State your name, likes, dislikes, hobbies, and your dream. She said. Ladies first, Naruto said with a grin. Okay, I'll start. My name is Yuahi Kurenai. I like karaoke, comic books, and nice people. I also like to study various genjutsus known in the shinobi world. I dislike arrogant people who look down on others. I also dislike perverts. My hobby aside from reading comic books and cookbooks is painting. My dream for now is to make sure that the three of you will be promoted into a chunin rank. She said in a calm tone. Kiba and Naruto looked at their female teammate who was in the process of looking at the ground and fidgeting both of her index fingers. My name is Hyuga Hinata. I like nice people. She blushed at her train of thoughts that include a certain blonde. I dislike people who look down on weak people. My hobby is cooking. My dream is to make a difference in my clan. She looked down once again. This one needs to boost up her confidence, thought Kurenai. Everybody looked at Hinata. They were caught up with the silence, but Kiba broke it up. Yo. The name's Inuzuka Kiba. I like my pet and best friend, Akamaru. I also like our team and to train. I dislike Sasuke's annoying fangirls. My hobbies are to hang out with my friends and to play with Akamaru. My dream is to become my clan's leader someday. He said in Naruto's side that indicated his turn. While this one, referring to Kiba, he needs to lessen his self-confidence, Kurenai stopped with her thoughts when Naruto was about to speak. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like my Ni-chan, Sandame Gigi, and he stopped for a moment and continued, nice people, who acknowledge me for who I am. I like ramen and I also like to train. I dislike the long wait for my ramen to be cooked, be it just minutes or seconds. I still dislike it. I also dislike arrogant people who look down on others as if they are weak. My hobby is to enjoy every ramen known to man. My dream is to become a Hokage and to surpass every one of them. He said. Kurenai looked at her students once again and smiled. Tomorrow, meet me at training ground number 19. 9 a.m. sharp. Sensei, what's the occasion? Kiba asked. Kurenai smiled again. Her smile for now will be mistaken as a grin. Let's just say, tomorrow is the real genin exam. She said. What? Kiba said, almost shouted, hyperventilating. Hinata was trying not to faint. Naruto looked rather plain, as if he had expected this. After all, he had lived with Kakashi, who always taught him a handful of things. Tomorrow at training ground 19. 9 a.m. sharp. You're all dismissed. Kurenai said, but before Naruto could go, she called him right away. Naruto, she called. Yes, sensei. He walked next to her. I was quite impressed that you've detected my genjutsu a while ago. Not even Kiba with his dog or Hinata with her Byakugan had sensed me. You've passed an unofficial test. She said. Naruto couldn't help but to blush at her praise. He was, once again, on his sheepish grin and scratching the back of his head just like yesterday at Ichiraku's. Kurenai looked at him and giggled audible enough for him to hear. Naruto immediately looked up and saw her rather amusing look on her face. It's not like you get to see the Uehi Kurenai, once called the Ice Queen, for her deadly demeanor, known for being calm and collected at all times, giggle around. And today was one of Naruto's lucky days. He was able to see the real Kurenai, the one he adored so much. He started to like her because of her wine-red eyes, somewhat making him entranced. It made him feel something he couldn't even explain. Gomen ne, Naru-kun, he heard her say. Kurenai-sensei, Naruto said, waving his hands in defense. I was wondering, did Kakashi teach you how to detect genjutsus? Kurenai asked the young blonde beside her. He didn't teach me how to detect it. He replied. Then how did you detect through my genjutsu? She asked, quite surprised. How can someone beat my genjutsu so easily? It's kind of weird actually. Kurenai raised her eyebrow. Well, you see, when everyone left except Team 7 and our team, I saw something blurry and the rest I guess you know what happened. He said. Anyo, am I dismissed now? He asked in unnatural low tone. Of course, you may go now. Kurenai said. She stood there watching her students retreating back. I saw something blurry and the rest I guess you know what happened. It rang through her mind again, looking deep in thought. The Genin exam, training ground number 19 was something Kiba would say, comfortable. There was a clearing in the middle, obviously for training or sparring purposes, while it was surrounded by several trees since they were almost at the edge of the forest. From their spot, they could see a waterfall that was connected with a lake. Surely enough, this was comfortable. 3 genins sat on a log while waiting for their sensei. You think she's just hiding in her genjutsu again? Kiba asked. Naruto shook his head this time. We're just early, you see. He said, showing Kiba the time that said 8:57 a.m. I guess when she says 9 o'clock sharp she meant 9 o'clock sharp. Kiba said while Akamaru barked in agreement on Hinata's lap. When the clock struck 9 o'clock, a kunai came darting in which Naruto caught with ease. I see that you're all early, that's good. A female voice rang. Team 8 looked at their sensei, who was walking towards a tree stump and placed an alarm clock which was set on 12 o'clock noon. As you can see, I have 2 bells here with me, Kurenai said as she held out 2 dangling bells. She tied it at her waist pocket and continued. Each bell is meant for one and only one genin. Before she could continue, Kiba cut her off. But Kurenai sensei, there are only 2 bells. He said. That means one of you will have to go back being an academy student again. Kurenai replied to her currently paled students. Get these bells to me with an intent to kill. Get this to me before your time run out. With her last word, Team 8 was nowhere to be seen. Near up to the trees, 3 genins were hiding from their sensei. Any plans? The boy with a fury jacket spoke. Okay, listen up, here's the plan, the blonde boy said. Once they were finished, the boy with a fury coat jumped down. Looking ever so confident, Kiba stood 10 meters away from Kurenai along with his dog, Akamaru, who was in his jacket. Do you happen to know what you are doing? Kurenai asked. Kiba, acting so, placed his dog Akamaru on the ground. Me and Akamaru will take you on. He pointed towards Kurenai direction. Kurenai could only sigh at this. There goes my first test. Wait, where are the other 2? Kurenai pondered. She saw Akamaru turned into an exact replica of Kiba while the real Kiba shouted. Gatsuga. Kurenai quickly sidestepped away. She cursed herself at how the Inuzukas were quite good whenever they fight with their dogs. Kurenai quickly jumped when the real Kiba charged at her way. But her luck was not on this day. In mid-air, Kurenai was still struggling with both Kiba's and Akamaru's attacks. She tried to turn, but she only came face to face with a white blur. Kurenai felt some of her tenketsus were being closed, causing her unable to move in mid-air. She could see herself falling and her opponents gone, at least that's what she thought until she heard someone shouted. Suoro no Jutsu. Soon she was inside of a bubble-like prison, breaking her fall. Kurenai looked at her jailer, Naruto, who was being accompanied by Kiba, who was placing Akamaru in his jacket, and Hinata, who was holding the bells. Naruto released his hold and Kurenai was free. She looked at them and sighed. You 3, pass, she said, which earned a few cheers from the official Team 8. Naruto, she called out. Yes, Kurenai sensei. Were you the one who thought of the strategy a while ago? She asked, which was followed by a nod. I see, you'll be the team captain, you earned it. She said. Naruto was speechless. It was like the Ramen suddenly spoke and said, take me. It took him 3 seconds to come back to reality due to Kiba's constant poking. Huh, Naruto said. Kiba sighed while Kurenai and Hinata giggled. We're going to Ichiraku's to celebrate. You're not just going to stand there, are you? Kiba said. Of course not. Naruto was back within a nanosecond. The moment he heard Ichiraku's, which lead to ramen and more ramen, he hurriedly ran at Kurenai's side. Anyo Kurenai sensei. Naruto couldn't finish his sentence, but instead he took out Kurenai's kunai to give it back to her. Oh, you can keep it, she said. Arigato. Naruto smiled sheepishly and scratched the back of his head. Hinata was looking at Naruto, then to her sensei. There was something different between the two that she couldn't put her finger on it. She never saw Kurenai-sensei act like this whenever she ran into her. To her, Kurenai-sensei was cool, calm, well collected, always serious, and sometimes noxious whenever it calls for it. Then her thoughts turned to Naruto. Well, to her, Naruto was her idol, being the loudmouth and carefree as he is. Truth be told, he was still her idol. His bright colors made her feel the things, to her, that was unattainable. Hinata, are you okay? Naruto asked as he waved his hand in front of her face. Hinata was so deep in thought, she didn't even notice Naruto's face in front of her saying something to her. She immediately blushed after seeing him in front and close to her. Hinata, are you okay? You look kind of red, Naruto said as he gently placed his palm to her forehead, which made her more flustered, and next to her was history. Hinata fainted, but thankfully Kiba was there to catch her fall. At Ichiraku's. Currently, Ichiraku's was jam-packed by Team 7, which consists of Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke, and Aburame Shino. They, too, passed their test, much to Kakashi's dismay, since there were rumors that Kakashi always fails his genin team. And there was Team 10, which consists of Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru, and Akamichi Choji. Kakashi was about to turn the page of his orange book when suddenly he winced, losing his concentration in reading. He turned to see his student, Sakura, fighting Asuma's student, Ino. It was something about who should sit next to their precious Sasuke-kun. Asuma was about to light his fourth stick, but when he saw a familiar kunoichi enter the restaurant, he immediately put it away. He didn't want to remember the things Anko did to him and his precious cancer sticks. He immediately winced in the memory. You're not looking for my brother, are you, Anko-chan? Kakashi asked with a chuckle. What if I am? What are you gonna do about it, Kakashi-kun? Anko said with a sly smirk on her face. Kakashi hadn't got any time to answer when the door suddenly slid open, revealing Team 8. Asuma was about to say something, but when he saw Anko's eyes lit as if they were blazing, he immediately shut his mouth. Hey Naruto-kun, we were just talking about you, Anko said, walking in front of the blonde. Everybody was looking at their direction, while the ones that didn't know what happened yesterday were curious, like, how did Naruto knew her? Something like that, while the others looked frantic until. Hey Naruto-kun, what will be it for today? Ayame said, audible enough for everyone to hear. Kakashi and Asuma sighed in relief. They could swear that Anko's fist was growing white in pressure. One miso and beef ramen for me, Naruto said with his cheerful voice. How about you, miss? Ayame looked at the woman next to Naruto. One beef ramen with extra chili, Anko said. And you three? Ayame asked, looking at Kurenai and the rest of Team 8. Miso ramen, Kurenai said. Miso ramen please, Hinata said, almost like a whisper. Beef ramen with extra filling and 2 beef rolls for Akamaru, Kiba said. I'll just place your orders for the meantime. I take it that they passed, Asuma said, which earned him a nod. So did my brother beat you to a pulp, Kurenai? Kakashi teased the red-eyed brunette. Kurenai only glared at him. Ni-chan, Naruto said, giving his Aniki a warning. But before they could continue, their meals came. Here are your orders, Ayame said with a smile. Yosh, itadakimasu, Naruto shouted with glee. And soon he ate his meal slowly, taking his time to taste the different ingredients of his precious ramen, just like Ayeka had taught him. Take your time, it's not like it will run away from you. Besides, a shinobi always takes his time, Ayeka said. Naruto smiled on the memory as he munched on the noodles. Hey Choji, when you eat your food do you smile like that? Kiba asked, pointing at Naruto. Quote. Guess not, Kiba said. He was still looking at Naruto, who was smiling after he finished his miso ramen. By the time he ate his beef ramen, his smile faded away. Maybe it's the food or something. I usually got that expression whenever I like or don't like the food being served to me. Choji whispered to Kiba. That was delicious, old man, Naruto said as he patted his full stomach. Little meeting. Once Team 8 was done eating, they left the ramen house for a little meeting. Late noon, they were currently at the park. Kurenai was standing in front of them while Hinata sat on the left side of the swing and Kiba was on the right. Naruto, on the other hand, was leaning on the left side of the swing. Our daily meeting will always be at 10 o'clock in the morning at training ground number 19. Is there any question or questions you would like to ask? She asked her students. When none came, she said, "Good, you're all dismissed." Kurenai saw Kiba and Hinata leave, but Naruto was still there, still leaning on the left side of the swing. "What are you still doing here, Naruto-kun?" she asked. "I got nothing else to do," he said, looking somewhere else. He suddenly felt Kurenai's presence. Slowly, she walked to where Hinata used to sit. "Push me," Naruto heard Kurenai say. "Huh?" Naruto looked at her for a second. "I gave you an order, Uzumaki Naruto. Now, do it," Kurenai said in a commanding tone. Hi. Naruto started to push the chains that were connected to the board she was sitting in. He could hear her giggle every time her back was close to him, close enough to smell her hair. He even commented that it smelled like strawberries that matched her eyes. Maybe she really likes red, he thought as he pushed the chains again. Kurenai never felt this emotion before. Surely it was something new that she didn't pick up in the sidewalks. She could even smell his scent every time she was close to him. It was something different. It was like it was made for him and him alone. It was somewhat strong, but it was making her taste buds tell her it was sweet. On her fifth swing, Kurenai stopped. Naruto saw Kurenai stopped herself and then looked at him. "Your next order is to ride the swing with me," he heard her say while he just mocked a salute to his superior. And soon, they started to swing. Both of their feet were like trying to reach to skies above. Both were smiling, happy, and contented. Every time they swing forward, they could feel the air around them, which was starting to get slightly cold. They could see the sunset from their position. On 3, we jump at the same time. The longer the jump is considered to be the winner and the other as the loser. Kurenai said. "Okay, the loser will have to cook dinner for the winner." "Deal," Naruto said. "Deal," Kurenai said in response. On 3, Naruto and Kurenai said in chorus. 1, Naruto. 2, Kurenai. 3, Naruto and Kurenai. Time seemed to slow back when they jumped. "Ha ha, looked like I won," Naruto said, but he suddenly stopped when he found out his very intimidating position. Him on top of Kurenai, the Uehi Kurenai. He quickly moved away. "Gomenasai." He looked down from where he sat with flushed cheeks. Kurenai found herself blushing as well. She was lucky enough that Naruto's head was down so that he couldn't see her blushing as well. "Looked like you did won, Naruto-kun," she stood up from the sand. "I guess I'll have to cook dinner for you," she said as she brushed away some dirt from her uniform. "Anyo, which house we'll be in?" Naruto asked. "Mine," Kurenai said. Dinner date. From where Naruto sat, the living room was almost the size of his apartment minus the bathroom and the kitchen. He looked at the walls, he could see some paintings hanged. He looked around, following his feet wherever they lead him to. He stopped to look at some pictures on a table. He saw some of Kurenai's pictures. One picture caught his eye. It was a single photo of Kurenai. She was wearing a purple yukata with a pink ribbon that tied around her waist. She wasn't wearing her hitai. Her hair was tied in a purple ribbon. He held the picture closely to his eyes so he could see more. As clear as the sun, Kurenai was standing behind a cherry blossom tree, smiling. She kinda looks like the woman in my dream, she can't be," Naruto thought as he continued to gaze upon the picture before him. That picture was taken during a festival. A voice suddenly rang from behind. Naruto quickly placed the frame back on the table and saw Kurenai still standing at the doorway with 2 meals on both of her hands. He promptly walked back to the couch where Kurenai was now sitting. Kurenai was about to say, "Dig in," when somebody poofed in the living room. Shit, Naruto thought. When the smoke was gone, It revealed two people, namely, Mitarashi Anko and Azuki Yugo. Were we interrupting something? Anko asked, more like teased, while Yugo was looking at Naruto. No, you're not. We were just going to have dinner when you two poofed in. Kurenai said, flatly. So, we did interrupt something. Anko said, not really listening. Kurenai-chan, who's he? Yugo interrupted. He's my student. His name is Uzumaki Naruto. Oh, Yugo had already heard this Uzumaki Naruto from some fellow Anbu. She remembered how Jiro, her fellow Anbu colleague, got hit by a Raiden jutsu that was transmitted by this familiar blonde when she happens to be passing by the Hokage's office. What are you girls doing here? Kurenai asked. We just thought we could come and give you a visit. Yugo said. Why, you're planning to do something to Naruto-kun, aren't you, Kurenai-chan? Anko said, eyeing her best friend. What? That is so not you, Kurenai-chan, that is are you. Yugo said, acting like she was in panic. Kurenai was red from anger, embarrassment, and you could probably guess that she's also blushing. Even Naruto found himself in a very intimidating situation, him in the middle of three women and considered to be one of the beautiful and deadliest kunoichis in Konoha. Anyo Kurenai sensei, I'll just go to the kitchen and eat there, I'll leave you with your guests. Naruto said, but before he could even stand, a hand stopped him. He looked at the owner of the hand, which came from the Mitarashi Anko. Nonsense, you can stay here. I doubt that Kurenai-chan here would want you to go, after all you're already here. Anko gave him one of her maniacal grin that caused Naruto to gulp down something inside of his throat. He's kind of interesting for a kid, but still, who cares? Yugo thought. Naruto started to eat his food. He didn't even notice the stares being given to him by both purple-haired kunoichis while Kurenai was eating and glancing at Naruto, then to Anko and Yugo. Kurenai just simply sighed when she finished eating while Naruto willingly did the dishes. As he washed the dishes, 3 pairs of eyes were watching at him, or rather his back. He just simply left both plates on the rank at his left. By the time he turned around, he saw 3 women looking at him. He an eyebrow and said, "Is there something wrong?" He asked. "No, nothing's wrong," Anko and Yugo said in chorus, whose both cheeks were pink. Kurenai was stopping herself not to laugh or anything. She never saw Anko, who's always playing on some guy, or Yugo, who's always hard to get a date on since she's an Anbu, became embarrassed by some guy at their age group, but by some 14 years old kid this was really hard not to laugh on. The meal was delicious, sensei. Naruto said, being polite and all. He bowed in front of her as courtesy, which of course taught by Ayeka. Kurenai saw him bow at her. Nobody has ever done that to her, not even Asuma or Kakashi. Her train of thoughts flashed fast to prove her theory, but when she found that there was really no living male has or have bowed at her, her theory was proven correct. She didn't even realize that she let out a small blush, but it quickly faded away. It's getting late, Naruto-kun. You better head home now. Kurenai said. Thank you for the meal, sensei. With his last statement, he went to the door and waved his goodbye. I guess I'll go now. I have to go patrol around the village. Anko said. Yeah, me too, I have duties as well. Yugo said, following Anko from behind. See ya, Anko said as she waved her hand. It was nice seeing you and, your student, Kurenai-chan. Yugo said with a wink, and soon she poofed away. Kurenai was walking to her bedroom thinking about what had happened during her day. She had already changed into her pajamas. Still thinking about her day, she gently lay on her bed. With a heavy sigh, she sat up. It was just a day, come one, go to sleep already. Admit it, Kurenai, you enjoyed it. Inner Kurenai said. With her rare appearance, Kurenai didn't even know she had one, in herself. Admit what? I don't even know what you're talking about. OWW, come on, you love his scent, you even said that. Before Inner Kurenai could continue, Kurenai already beat her up to it. Stop it. Let me sleep. Kurenai was now struggling from her own self. Admit it first. Fine. I enjoyed what happened today and I love his scent, happy now. I can't believe I'm talking to myself. Ha, I bet you even enjoyed his touch when he was on top of you, ha ha ha. Hyuga Hinata woke up early as always, gazing up to the white walls she was accustomed to. Her room had been white as far as she can remember. Not even a single bright color can be seen in her room except white, though. Noticing the clock on her desk, it clearly stated 8 a.m. She remembered the little meeting they had yesterday. From there, she decided to head towards the bathroom for a shower. After a couple of minutes, Hinata went to the kitchen for a little breakfast. There, she saw her father who was about to turn a page from his newspaper. She also saw her little sister Hanabi and her cousin Neji. Hinata greeted them, "Good morning," and proceeded to take her breakfast. She noted that she still has a plenty of time before going to the said training ground. There was the usual awkward silence once again in the Hyugas. Guy Sensei told us that your team passed yesterday, Hinata-sama, congratulations. Neji said, breaking the silence. Hyuga Hiyashi, the Hyuga clan leader, was listening to Neji's words. He pretended not to as he turned another page of his newspaper. That's good to hear. I don't expect you had the big role in this test. Hiyashi said, still looking at his newspaper. Hinata was looking down again. She had expected this. How did you and your team pass Kurenai-san's test, Hinata-sama? Neji asked, changing the topic. Hinata started to tell how Team 8 passed. She started with the detail that Naruto was the one who thought of the strategy. With this information, Hiyashi started to listen attentively, pretending once again that this wasn't in his interest. Hinata stated that her teammate, Kiba, started the first attack and then she stated that she closed Kurenai's Tenketsu as the second attack. Neji smiled at this. Then, Hinata started to tell about what Naruto did. Surely enough, this caught everybody's attention. He used a mist jutsu. Hiyashi. He will be a worthy opponent, worthy indeed. Neji. He's quite strong and smart for his age. Interesting. That Naruto. Very interesting. Hanabi. Kiba. Meanwhile at the Inuzuka household, Inuzuka Kiba was about to open his eyes and then proceeded to sleep again until Akamaru came and started to wake his master with his continuous licking on Kiba's face. He immediately woke up and proceeded to the bathroom for a shower. By the time he was done, he took some clothes from his dresser and noted that it was only 8:30 a.m. in the morning. He sighed and took Akamaru in his fury jacket as always. He headed downstairs only to meet a wondrous aroma coming from the kitchen. When he was about to enter, he got bumped by his sister, Inuzuka Hana. "Watch where you're going, runt," she said as she too was entering the kitchen. Kiba was about to give a retort but his stomach beat him up to it. He just shrugged the idea of her sister eating breakfast with him, completely ignoring her in the process. "Are you going out today, Kiba-kun?" Kiba's mother asked. "Hi," he said. "So, you actually passed your jonin instructor's test?" Hana said, almost disbelieving. "Actually we did," Kiba shot back. Kiba's mother only sighed. She was about to witness another verbal battle between her daughter and son. "I bet you had the little role during your test, runt," Hana said, teasing her little brother. Kiba was growing red in anger until his mother broke the upcoming retort. "Care to tell us how you and your team passed, Kiba-kun?" Kiba's mother said loud enough for them to hear. Kiba narrated what had happened yesterday. He started to tell that Naruto was the one who thought of the plan. Everybody chuckled when he said that he boasted off telling that he can take on Kurenai. Then, he was suddenly interrupted by his sister. "Ha, I knew you were only a distraction," Hana said. Kiba's eyebrow twitched while his hand, or rather his fist, started to crumble like mad. Kiba's mother just sighed and said, "What happened next, Kiba-kun?" She said, changing the topic once again. "As I was saying," he started again, giving them the detail that Hinata closed Kurenai's Tenketsu and the next was left to Naruto. Naruto used this sweetened jutsu to catch Kurenai-sensei. It was sway. Kiba was thinking of the jutsu Naruto used to catch Kurenai. Suoro no jutsu, Kiba's mother finished his sentence. Yeah, that's the jutsu, Kiba said as he ate his breakfast. Unknown to him, two people were left thinking about the sudden information they've received. Suoro no jutsu, quite advanced for his age. I wonder if he could do more. Interesting, maybe I could go and take a little visit. Hana. Naruto. Meanwhile at Naruto's apartment, Naruto clad in his usual clothing, his orange jumpsuit. He started to prepare breakfast. After making 2 sunny side-up eggs, 2 bowls of heated ramen, and a big bowl of rice, he placed the food on the table until food. Kakashi entered the apartment like a starved man with droopy eyes. He went straight to the kitchen where Naruto was. Naruto sighed as he saw his Aniki, who had a droopy face, then suddenly turned to an amusing look. Naruto hated that look. Whenever he saw that look on Kakashi's face, it meant trouble for Naruto. He could see his smirk under his face mask as if the said thing wasn't there. They both sat opposite to one another. They've been like this when Kakashi found out that Naruto can cook. He even asked his Ototo where did he learn it, though, Naruto just always changes the topic. I was on patrol last night, Kakashi started. Oh, Naruto said, looking at his ramen. Aren't you going to ask me, where? Kakashi said, smirking under his face mask. At this point, Naruto dropped his chopsticks. He immediately picked it up and said, I was patrolling near the park last night and then I saw something quite interesting, Kakashi said with a chuckle. Naruto gulped. Really? What did you see, Ni-chan? Naruto asked. But before Kakashi could answer, somebody knocked at the door. Enko was there waiting after she knocked at Naruto's door. Naruto quickly ran to the door, thanking the gods for the sudden pop-up. By the time he answered the door, he was greeted by a purple-haired kunoichi, Mitarashi Enko. What can I do for you, Enko-san? He asked. Enko just grinned and let herself in. Oh, I was just near the neighborhood and I just thought I'd drop by and give you a visit. She said, looking everywhere in his apartment. She noticed Kakashi at the kitchen and the food at the table. She helped herself with a bowl of rice and 1 serving of Naruto's sunny side up egg. There goes my egg, Naruto thought with a sigh. He just helped himself with his trusty ramen. Once he was done eating, he told Kakashi that he was going to meet his teammates about something that he didn't know, and with that statement he left his apartment. Enko stood and proceeded to clean the dishes she used, leaving a dumbfounded Kakashi. What? She asked. You clean dishes? He said. I do live on my own, don't I? She said sarcastically and went straight to the door. Kakashi was left staring at the closed door, leaving his egg untouched yet. When he was done, he slowly went to clean the dishes and muttered something about crazy women and proceeded to do his jonin duties. Team Kurenai. It was 9:45 a.m. at the moment. Naruto walked to Team 8's training ground. He noticed someone was already there. He saw Hinata with someone that looked like her, only that someone was rather small and has a long black hair similar to Hinata's father. She must be Hinata-chan's sister or something, he thought. He walked up to them and greeted them, which in turn they greeted back. How long have you been here, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked, sitting next to her. I've been here with my sister for just a couple of minutes. She said, more like a whisper. Hanabi was listening to their little conversation. She couldn't help but to feel a little out of place and a little mad because of the way they act as if she wasn't there. I see. Naruto took a glance on Hanabi and said, Hi, the name's Uzumaki Naruto, what's yours? He said, offering his hand. Hanabi looked at him and at his hand and then at him and then at his hand again and shook Naruto's hand. Hyuga Hanabi, Hinata's younger sister. She said, letting go of his hand. She even commented in her head that his hand was rough yet warm. It's probably due to constant training, Hanabi thought. They waited for Kiba and his dog. After 10 minutes, Kiba was there with someone in tow as well. Naruto and Hinata swear they saw Kiba's eyebrow twitched several times when he walked to them. Good morning. Kiba said, which in turn earned him a few good mornings as well. They looked at the woman behind Kiba. She had the same markings on the face just like Kiba. Kiba noticed their staring at his sister and decided to introduce her to his teammates, much to her sister's delight. 1 hour ago. Why do you have to go with me? Don't you have anywhere to go? Kiba asked annoyingly. What is so wrong if I go there with you? Hana said. You'll just distract me. Kiba shouted. Yay, yay, dream on, Kiba. As if. Present time. It was soon close to 10 o'clock. Team 8 was waiting quietly for their jonin instructor just like yesterday. When their clock struck 10 they heard a poof, only to reveal a grinning Mitarashi Anko. What? She asked. Team 8 just sighed. They thought it was their sensei. As simple as counting 1 2 3, their sensei was late. Late as in, 30 minutes late. When Kurenai came, she was clad in her jonin uniform, and still droopy. She had the surprised look when she saw the new additions, namely, Anko, Hana with her dog, and Hanabi. Slept late, Kurenai, Anko said as she gave a pat on Kurenai's back. Wonder why, Anko added while she rubbed her chin, acting like she was deep in thought. Kurenai didn't answer. She remembered herself battling against her inner self and was now blushing. She kept her head low so nobody could see her flushed cheeks. Anko was looking at Kurenai. She started to giggle that turned to a hysterical laugh. Stop it, Anko-chan. Team 8, let's just go and take our first mission. Kurenai left, followed by Naruto, Hinata, and Kiba with Akamaru. Anko stopped laughing when Kurenai left along with her team, while Hana was wondering what's up with Kurenai. Hanabi, on the other hand, was left once again. She just helped herself back to the Hyuga compound. Mission. Currently, the administration's office, aka the Hokage's office, was quiet, damned quiet in the workers' opinion. In the middle of the room was an old man. Preferably, all ninjas looked up to this old man, aka the Sandaime Hokage of Konoha. The Sandaime was with a chunin named Yumino Iruka. They were currently fixing some load of paperworks and mission reports. They heard a knock on the door and immediately the Hokage said, "Come in." Soon there was an orange flash came barging in, followed by the rest of Team 8 with their jonin instructor. Hey Sandaime Gigi, we want our first mission and make it interesting. Naruto said with great enthusiasm in his tone. Interesting mission, huh? Sandaime said with a chuckle. Okay. He added as he went through some mission scrolls. When he found one D-ranked mission he gave it to Kurenai. You should take your leave soon, that mission is rather long to finish. It might take you a week or two. Sandaime said as he gave a wink on his statement, while Kurenai noticed the Sandaime's wink. She immediately excused her team to do their interesting mission just like what the Sandaime said. Nay, sensei, what does it say? Do we get to save someone, stop an assassination attempt, or stop some rogue bandits? What is it, sensei? Naruto asked. Nope, she replied. Just follow me, she added, which all three genins just complied. Shortly, they were in front of a house. It wasn't big, neither it wasn't small either. It has a fence in the front that serves as the front gate. It also has a garden in the front of the house to give a little decoration. When the said old man saw the hired ninjas, he greeted them promptly. Immediately, the old man separated the three genins. He pulled Naruto first and led him in front of the fence opposite a garden and gave him a bucket of white paint and a brush. It's all in the wrist, the old man said. Naruto just looked at the brush in his right hand and at the bucket with a blank look. He was muttering something about stupid old geezer. At this point a certain old geezer sneezed in front of his paperwork, causing his signature to get smudged. While Naruto was still looking at the brush at his hand and the bucket of white paint, both girls, namely Kurenai and Hinata, were led to a garden, obviously to do some gardening, weeding, and more weeding. Kurenai was thankful that Hinata used her Byakugan to make the job easier. With a 360 degrees range of sight, their job was fairly easy enough. The old man was now leading Kiba with his dog inside his house to do some polishing. It only registered to Kiba when he was pushed semi-dragged inside the living room. From there, he saw the amount of things he was about to polish. Meanwhile with Naruto, he had a big white paint in front of his jumpsuit, after opening the big can in a clumsy manner. Since there were only 3 people on site including him, he decided to take off his jacket and put it on the ground. He was only clad in his orange pants and a blue t-shirt. I'm definitely gonna wash up after this, Naruto thought. You better take off your shirt if you don't want it to be smudged as well, the old man said from the side. Naruto complied. He was now half as he walked past the old man and the people at the old man's garden, namely, Kurenai and Hinata. When his back was evident, they could see a tattoo on his back. It looked like wings, as the old man, Hinata, and Kurenai thought. Naruto returned to his work. Kage Bushin no Jutsu, he said. Soon, there were 5 clones making the job easier. By the time Naruto was done, he disposed all clones and he also noticed 2 things. 1. It was raging hot. 2nd, there were people staring at him. Do I have something on my face? Naruto asked. It was only the old man who answered. No, you actually did a fine job with the fence, he said. I'll just go and tell my daughter to get you all a drink. The old man left. He must be new in the village. He doesn't even know who I am, Naruto thought. Meanwhile in the old man's living room, there lies Kiba who was exhausted from his job. He had polished several pots, vases, and a statue that were antiques in a marble table that has an area 0 meters. When the old man walked past the living room he saw the kid lying on the floor with his dog, Akamaru. Hey kid, meet with your friends outside, the old man said more like a command. When Kiba went outside, he was greeted by a half Naruto. What happened to you? Kiba asked pointing his index finger to the blonde. My jumpsuit got smudged by the white paint, Naruto said. Oh, Kiba's reply as he sat next to Hinata who was sitting at the wooden railing at the porch while Kurenai was leaning at the wooden column pondering about what she saw a while ago. Meanwhile in Naruto's mind, Yo kid, what's wrong with you? You seem a little quiet. Kyuubi said. Nothing, I was just resting. Naruto replied. Bah, you never rest and besides that job wasn't even fit for your taste. Kyuubi said. Naruto chuckled. Well of course in his mind only. Yay, even in your tastes as well, furball. I'm off for now, see ya. Naruto said as he broke their link. Refreshments everyone. A new voice came. Apparently, it came from a female probably the old man's daughter. Her name was Sonoko. She had the same raven hair just like her father while the color of Sonoko's eyes was honey brown most likely came from her mother. From Kurenai's pav, Sonoko must be around her age. Kurenai's age in here is 20. Naruto looked at the woman with a blank facial expression. When she offered him a drink, she saw something that caught her eye. It was Naruto's necklace. Excuse me, Sonoko asked, looking at the blonde. Aside from Naruto, the rest of Team Kurenai looked at Sonoko. Did your mother give you that necklace? Sonoko said, pointing at the necklace. A girlfriend then? She asked making the blonde boy blush. Wow, you already have a girlfriend? Sonoko said with a chuckle. No, Naruto said bringing both hands in defense. It came from my sensei. Naruto added. He had a gut feeling that he had said something wrong or at least that's what he thought. After the said revelation, Hinata and Kiba looked at their sensei then to Naruto and again. It continued until Naruto noticed their constant staring. No, I didn't mean it like that. The necklace came from my first sensei. Naruto added once again. How did you know it came from a girl, Nei-chan? Naruto asked trying to change the topic. It's rather simple actually, have you tried looking at it closely? If no, then, well you see this gem or shall I say ruby, has some interesting silver carvings judging by its design it's made for a girl and from the way this gem was cut I'd say it's made for a princess or someone who came from a clan of nobility. Sonoko paused, studying the necklace thoroughly. Your sensei must have the same eye color with that necklace of yours. When Sonoko saw the young blonde nod, she let go of the necklace. How do you know these things? Naruto asked. Oh, well, you see, my father and I travel a lot. We mostly study on symbols and some old stuff. But we decided to take a little vacation for a while. I see. After several minutes of rest, Team 8 took their leave. Once they neared an intersection, Hinata decided to take her leave since the said street headed to her house while Kiba decided to walk with her, leaving Naruto with Kurenai again. When the said genins walked away, Kurenai stopped walking, making Naruto to stop as well. So who was your first sensei, Naruto-kun? Kurenai started. Her name is Ayeka. Naruto responded. What does she looks like? Kurenai asked. Actually, she kinda looks like you, Kurenai-sensei. Kurenai raised her eyebrow. Well, you both have the same eye color and the same hair color, and oh, she's also good in Genjutsu just like you, sensei. What were the things she had taught you, Naruto-kun? Kurenai asked, obviously intrigued. Naruto looked down and scratched the back of his head, a signature look whenever Naruto got nervous around someone. Naruto looked up and continued. She taught me several things like taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu, and even kenjutsu. She also taught me how to cook as well and some etiquette. Also some things that I didn't know the purpose of it, she just said that it's to keep my emotions in check or something. Naruto said, scratching the left side of his cheek with his index finger. I see, so when you made that deal, you were ready for the consequences. Kurenai said. Wow, yay, kind of, Naruto said as he scratched the back of his head. Kurenai sighed, yet she smiled inwardly. I have to go to the Hokage's office for our mission report. Goodbye, Naruto-kun. With her last statement, she poofed away to the Hokage's office. See you soon, Kurenai-sensei, he said under his breath. Mission report. Late afternoon at the Hokage's office, a knock on the door was heard. From the inside, an old man's voice responded with a, come in. Slowly, a new figure walked in. I take that the mission is complete. The old man known as Sandaime Hokage said. Hi, Hokage-sama, the jonin replied in a stern tone. Tell me, Kurenai-san, did something interesting happened? Sandaime said, turning to lit up his pipe. Interesting. What could be interesting in a D-ranked mission? Kurenai thought. Interesting, Hokage-sama? Kurenai asked curiously. When Kurenai saw the old man nod, she recalled what had happened during their mission. Well, if I may say, it's kind of disturbing and somewhat interesting as well, Hokage-sama. Kurenai said. What was the interesting part? Sandaime asked. A while ago, I learned that Naruto-kun had a sensei before me, and he even commented that we had some resemblance. Kurenai replied. Resemblance? The Hokage thought. That is quite interesting, Kurenai-san. Now tell me, what was it that disturbed you? Sandaime asked. It concerns on Naruto-kun, Hokage-sama. Well, by chance me, a villager, and also the rest of my team saw Naruto-kun's back. He had a tattoo that looked like wings on his back. It's as if he has wings on both shoulder blades, Hokage-sama. So it has begun. You should have seen it, my friend. Sandaime thought, making him deep in thought, not even hearing what was Kurenai was saying. Hokage-sama? Kurenai asked, bring back the old man away from his train of thoughts. Kurenai-san, tell me, has Naruto-kun told you something about his vision being blurry? Sandaime asked. Kurenai was curious to where was this discussion would lead to. Yes, he did, Hokage-sama. She said. When did it happen, Kurenai-san? Sandaime asked. It was before I gave my team their test. Sandaime nodded at the every information he gained. Is there something wrong, Hokage-sama? Kurenai asked, eyeing the Hokage as if she's trying to read the old man's mind. Nothing is wrong, that I assure you. Tomorrow you may get your and your team's pay. Also, could you get Kakashi-kun for me? I've got some things to discuss with him. Sandaime ordered, asked Kurenai. Kurenai only nodded and asked. Is this about Naruto-kun? No, this doesn't concern about your student, Kurenai-san. Sandame lied. Kurenai bowed to her superior and poofed away to find the said copy nin. D-ranked missions, the easiest mission a ninja could have. Despite from being the easiest, it is also the lamest. But for Uzumaki Naruto's opinion, it is another step forward in becoming Hokage. Or at least in his mind, he had been contemplating whether these missions are good to the fact that all you have to do is do simple chores like buy the groceries, weed the garden, paint fences, fix the roof, deliver some things, or even find someone's cat. This is even way out of his league, much to Kyuubi's dismay. It has been a week since the Rookie 9 has started doing their missions. Having no luck to their missions, well, what luck can you get in a D-ranked mission? Outskirts of Konoha. Is the target visible? A man's voice asked. The target is visible. A girl's voice responded. The target is visible. A boy's voice said. The third person in the team replied didn't reply. Slowly, they walked away from the bushes to catch Kuro-chan, the said feline who's been missing from Konohamaru's arms. When the feline detected her spectators, she ran away only to be caught by Team 8's member Uzumaki Naruto. Kuro-chan knew her master's friends that included Naruto in the list. Hey, we were here first. Sakura yelled. But we got the cat first. Kiba shot back. Arrggrrr. Sakura was beyond mad. HN, replied the said Avenger. Shino didn't reply, once again. Kakashi was back to his beloved orange book with a red slashed circle at the back telling that it's for adults only. After 5 seconds, the group consists of Kakashi's team and Kurenai's team were hearing some sound of giggling. Sensei, Sakura yelled, making everybody wince at the pitch of her yell. Huh, did you say something? Kakashi said, which made Sakura more furious. Sasuke, stoic as ever, just crossed his arms. Hinata and Kiba just stared at Team 7. Kurenai and Naruto just sighed. Kuro-chan just meowed, while Shino just stood there quiet. I think she likes you, Naruto. Hinata said, pointing at the cat. I've petted her before whenever I visit Konohamaru at the Sarutobi compound. Naruto replied while Kuro-chan was playing one of Naruto's locks near his neck, making him flinch a little. Ticklish. Inner Kurenai thought. Kurenai-sensei, Kuro-chan wants your beloved attention. Naruto said teasingly while Kuro-chan was reaching for Kurenai's red sleeve like a baby. Naruto gave the feline to his sensei. As it reached Kurenai's arms, it was playing one of Kurenai's locks near her shoulder. When this was happening, everybody was watching in every detail, not giving a damn about what were they seeing, since it's in the nature of the felines to play around as always. But in Kakashi's perverted mind, it had a different aspect. Oi Naruto, it's early you two to have babies. Kakashi said. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Babies, he said, and took a glance on Kurenai, who had a flushed pink cheeks, while Kuro-chan meowed. Ni-san. Kakashi laughed at his odoto. Ma, let's just go to the Hokage's office to report back our mission. Kakashi said. Wait, did you just say our mission? Does it include them as well? Sakura pointed out. Kakashi simply nodded and said, this is a joint team mission. A joint team mission, Sasuke repeated. And now, he tells us. Sakura said. Hokage Tower, one of the most peaceful places in Konoha, especially during noontime. Most workers were doing their respective duties. Some were chatting about where they could hang out after work hours. Others were bushed out due to stress, wanting to get away from all the strain. Let's take for example, our beloved Hokage, who already finished a tower of paperwork in a record time. Ah, finally, no paperwork today, I can get to enjoy this peace and quiet for once, Sandame thought, lighting his pipe as he turned to the window revealing the Hokage monument. Much to his dismay, his so-called peace and quiet was taken away easily. The office's door banged open, showing Team 7 and Team 8. So much to my peace and quiet, Sandame thought. Hey Sandame Gigi, we already finished the mission you gave us. Naruto said, while the other genins were rather surprised at Naruto's forwardness to the Hokage. Good. I have another job for you. Sandaime said as he looked for the scroll. Give us at least a C-ranked mission, Sandaime Gigi. Naruto said. Yes too. Sakura said. For once, Sasuke agreed with the pink-haired Kunoichi. Sandaime was thinking whether to pick the C-ranked one or the usual D-ranked one. Don't even think about giving us a D-ranked mission, old man. Naruto added, giving stress on Sandaime's nickname. Sandaime was in panic. He remembered when Naruto used that nickname, the memory already giving him the nosebleed. But by mere chance, he accidentally picked up the D-ranked mission scroll. Big mistake, old man. Naruto added. Everyone was starting to feel that something was seeping out of the blonde. They all saw Naruto form a hand seal and said, Harem no Jutsu. Soon there were 8 women saying, Sarutobi-sama. As fast as the speed of sound, the nosebleeds occurred, coming from the raging hormone teenagers, perverted men, and from the perverted old geezer as well. Not long enough, there were medics everywhere helping out. Some were confused, like how in Kami's name did these shinobis suffered with so much blood loss and it managed to injure the Hokage and even Kakashi, Konoha's copy nin. After the chaos brought by the newly formed jutsu, the jutsu has been declared as a Genjutsu, making it forbidden to use. It took the men for almost 20 minutes to revive to their feet. That left the 3 genins who were still unconscious courtesy of Naruto's jutsu. Sakura was helping her dearest Sasuke-kun while Shino was being helped by a medic. Hinata, on the other hand, was looking out for Kiba. Fine, this will be a joint team mission. Team 7 with Team 8, both Junins will be in charge. Your mission is to protect a bridge builder named Tazuna, as well as his family. Sandaime gave the mission scroll to Kakashi. Where is this man we're supposed to protect? Kurenai asked. At the same moment, the said man entered the room, looking at his protectors. Are they the ones who are going to protect me? He said, pointing at the ninjas with his index finger. Yes, they are. Please don't underestimate them, they are more reliable than you think. Sandaime said. I was talking about the brats. Tazuna said. Why you? Naruto was about to attack Tazuna with his fist, but then he was stopped by his sensei, Kurenai. We're not here to kill Tazuna-san. We're here to protect him. Kurenai said, then she turned around to Tazuna. I suggest you take the Hokage's advice, if I were you. Kurenai added. The moment Tazuna saw Kurenai's eyes, he could feel his feet being buried to the floor, either from fear or anxiousness. Tazuna got even more nervous when he got suddenly crept up by a half-masked man and told him something about, you haven't seen the scariest part. Sandaime coughed a little bit to make known his presence once again. During your trip to Wave Country you will meet someone named Momochi Zabuza. Sandaime said. Isn't he the renowned demon of the mist? Kurenai asked. On Sandaime's face, there formed a smile. Yes, to everyone's knowledge he is the famous demon of the mist, but he is also one of my so-called contacts at the outside world. It is one of his ways to survive, be one with the hunter, is what he had said to me all those years. Sandaime smiled. Zabuza will lead you on the way there about this. Sandaime said as he pulled another scroll and gave to Kakashi, who eyed the contents of the said scroll. Nami no Zaisho. Day 1. Noon. Near the west gate of Konoha, stood an old man. Probably in his late 40s. The said old man was with a group of young ninjas who were also waiting as well, just like him, the old man. He noticed something about the group. 1. There was a pink-haired girl who was fawning over this raven-haired boy who was crossing his arms ignoring the pink-haired girl. 2. There was this weird-looking boy playing with his dog. 3. There were 2 silent kids. The first one was looking down while the other one was different. Tazuna couldn't even tell where he was looking because of his deep-shaded sunglasses. 4. Lastly, Tazuna noticed that he was being watched. He turned around to see who was staring at him, only to find the same blonde-haired boy who was about to attack him earlier. After 10 minutes, they all heard a poof. When the smoke dissipated, it showed Team 8's a Junin instructor, Yuahi Kurenai. She asked if Kakashi had showed up, but when Kiba said that he saw the copy nin entering a bookstore on his way to the gate, everybody swear they saw an imaginary vein popping out on Kurenai's forehead. The vein popping only stopped when Kakashi showed up with a new edition of Ayeka Paradise. Yo, let's go, Kakashi said behind his new, orange, book. The next thing they knew, they were walking away from the west gate. Kakashi with Shino on the front, Sakura ogling over Sasuke at the back of Kakashi and Shino, Hinata with Kiba at Tazuna's side both left and right, respectively, while at the back were Naruto and Kurenai. As they all walked, none gave a damn about the puddles on the ground, but Naruto did. Kurenai saw the ones at the front stopped walking, especially Kakashi. She too stopped and saw Naruto standing in front of numerous abnormal puddles. The next thing they saw was a blur. Everybody was caught up with the blur that turned into a group of ninjas and samurais. There were 4 ninjas particularly from the hidden village of the mist, and 4 samurais that came from the hidden village of the rock. They were so caught up that no one realized that one member of their group was captured quite easily, much to her dismay. Give us the old man and this won't get messy, the leader said, pointing at Tazuna with his katana. What if we don't? Kakashi replied. She dies, the leader said, pointing to the captured Kurenai. Sensei. Team 8 cried. They were in a battle position ready to rescue their sensei. Nobody moves, if one of you moved we'll kill you instead, leaving the old man and this exotic woman of yours to us, the leader said as he grinned manically. With this said, all the enemies were moving near Team 7 and Team 8. Naruto loosened up and he moved. The enemy leader's eyes shot at the blonde who was doing something with his hands. It didn't register to the leader's eyes. It was like a fast blur. The fool, what the heck was he thinking, forming hand seals when someone is ready to stab him at the back? The leader thought. They could all see Naruto, stabbed at the back by the enemy, being thrown at the side of the nearby forest. Naruto. Beat. Kurenai witnessed everything. She was still shaking from the fact that Naruto was stabbed in front of her. She could feel some beatings inside of her that she couldn't even comprehend. Beat. It can't be. Beat. Naruto-kun's dead. Beat. Impossible. Beat. It must be a genjutsu. Beat. But how come I didn't detect it? Beat. I should have stopped it from happening. Beat. Single quote, comma, single quote. The sound of beatings didn't stop. It only took its pace even further and soon it became more ragged. What's the matter? Scared Ojo-chan? The leader asked behind Kurenai's ear. If I get loose from you, I swear I'm going to kill you, Kurenai said with gritted teeth. Let's see you try. The leader mocked the now freed Jonin. Currently, both Jonins, Kakashi and Kurenai, were fighting against the enemy ninjas, while the 5 genins were defending Tazuna's life against 4 samurais. Sakura and Hinata were both at Tazuna's side. Kiba and Akamaru already formed the Jujin Bushin. Shino was calling out his Kikai bugs. At the same time, Sasuke formed a set of hand seals and called out, Kaden, Gukaku no Jutsu. Once the flames were off, there was only one samurai left. Kiba used his Gatsuga to their last enemy, wanting to make his opponent to feel the loss he received. Meanwhile, both Kakashi and Kurenai were trying to fend off the flying shurikens heading their way. This is beginning to be child's play, the enemy ninja said as he formed a series of hand seals and said, Sweden. Suikuden no Jutsu. Kakashi was about to cast a jutsu the moment he saw the upcoming barrage of water until he heard a familiar voice shout out, Sweden. Sujinheki. Soon, both Junins were seeing a wall of water in front of them. They both turned and saw the caster, Naruto, with somebody in tow. When the water dissipated, it revealed 5 ninjas, 3 leaf ninjas and 2 mist ninjas. The enemy ninjas stepped back when they saw the new additions, namely, Momochi Zabuza and Haku its female Haku. What's the matter? You all look like you've seen a ghost, Zabuza said as he picked up his sword, Kubikiri Haucho, from his back, bringing it forth. Haku, Zabuza called out. Haku slowly walked up to the enemy ninjas while in her right hand held 4 needles for each enemy ninjas. Perfect number, Haku thought. With one shot, Haku managed to slay a single ninja with her keen shot at its neck. 1 down, 3 to go, Haku said behind her mask. 3 needles were left in her hands, but this time she fired them all together, making the enemy ninjas lifeless before her. Zabuza noticed the blonde kid next to him as if the blonde was flinching or something. What's the matter, kid? Zabuza asked. Nothing. Naruto managed to stutter before he fell unconscious. Oi kid, you okay? Zabuza said. Everybody's attention flew to them. Both Kurenai and Kakashi ran up to them to see if Naruto was okay, while the genins walked to them, but Kakashi told them not look. Meanwhile, Kurenai, Haku, and Zabuza were beside Naruto. They saw the stab near Naruto's left shoulder. Kurenai didn't imagine that the stab passed through his body. Slowly, they all saw a small tint of red chakra coming out of his body, healing his wounds perfectly. But something was off. Naruto had not yet awakened from his unconsciousness. Kakashi walked up to them and carried Naruto at his back. He looked at Tazuna with both of his eyes, revealing his spinning Sharingan to the man before him. Explain yourself. You only ordered protection from rogue bandits, animals, but you never spoken of enemy ninjas. This mission is clearly a high-level C-ranked mission. Not only that, this mission managed to hurt my little brother. At the mention of little brother, Tazuna looked at the kid Kakashi was carrying and looked down. Now I tell you again, explain yourself, Tazuna-san. Kakashi said. Tazuna started to tell the whole group about what has been happening in Wave Country, including Getu, who wants Tazuna dead for making this bridge that will corrupt his Getu business. Tazuna, Zabuza said as if tasting the name. Tazuna looked at the famous demon of the mist with bullets forming at the side of his face. Kakashi, if that kid wakes up, he'll probably tell us to continue this mission. Zabuza said as he looked at Kakashi and turned to look at Kurenai. Right, Zabuza asked, looking at Kurenai, who only nodded and looked worried to her student. Besides, I'm sure Tazuna-san here will have to pay the full amount for you mission. Right, Tazuna-san, Zabuza said with earn him a nod from the bridge builder. Zabuza walked forward with Haku leading the way while Kakashi followed behind. Kurenai and the others walked next to them. Wait, you're going to help us? Kakashi asked, bringing down his Hitai to hide his left eye. Right you are, I believe, Monkey, told you about this, am I right? Zabuza said. Kakashi pondered for a while. When Zabuza said, Monkey, Zabuza actually meant Sarutobi. Saru means monkey. Kakashi thought. Yes he did. Kakashi said. Just our luck, everything seems to take its place, don't you think? Zabuza said as he walked to the near boat with a man in it. It's rather peaceful yet disturbing in here. Kurenai thought while Naruto was sound asleep at her lap. Both of them were at the back while the ones at the front were Kakashi and Zabuza, followed by Haku, Tazuna and Shino. Next to them were Sasuke and Sakura, followed by Hinata and Kiba, and the ones at the back as well, including the driver of the boat. Some were thinking about what had happened earlier. Let's take for example. That was the Sharingan. Kakashi sensei had the Sharingan. Sasuke. This boy is a demon vessel, just like Haku. Zabuza. He's just like me. Haku. What was that feeling a while ago? It felt like my heart was beating hard and fast. Kurenai. It took them 20 minutes to arrive at the shoreline of the Wave Country. The first thing they saw was the fair treatment the villagers had. Some were poor. Some were lucky to have homes, as they call it. Soon, they were in front of Tazuna's house. It wasn't small or big. It was perfect for the old man and his family. Welcome to my humble home, Tazuna said. Once they entered, Tazuna was greeted by her daughter, Tsunami. Father, what took you so long? She asked, bringing her hand to her hip as she waited for her father to reply. Oh, well, you see, I have to ask for some help, Tazuna said as he pointed at the ninjas behind him. After a couple of minutes, the genins were at the living room, resting or talking. How do you think Naruto's doing? Hinata asked her teammate. He'll be fine. Plus, Kurenai sensei is with him, remember? Kiba said as he made sure that Hinata won't get worried too much. I guess you're right, arigato, Kiba-kun. Hinata said, letting the kun slip from her mouth. She noticed Kiba looked away as he waved his hand saying, it's nothing, with flushed pink cheeks. Meanwhile at the front porch of Tazuna's house, Kakashi and Zabuza with Haku were there talking. Mostly about shinobi stuff and their mission, but their topic suddenly changed by Zabuza. Your brother, what's his name? Zabuza said. Naruto, Uzumaki Naruto. Kakashi said. He's quite interesting, if you ask me. Zabuza said. Kakashi and eyebrow and left the porch. Kakashi was soon followed by Zabuza with Haku in tow. At the same moment in the guest room, Kurenai was watching Naruto sleep on his futon. Naruto hadn't showed any interest in waking up for quite some time now in his watcher's opinion. A minute had passed. Kurenai noticed Naruto's breathing was becoming ragged and his chest was rising rather high. Naruto, Kurenai said in panic. She suddenly noticed Naruto's eyes were opening slowly. Naruto slowly sat up and saw his sensei with an expression he hadn't seen before. It was a mix of sadness, hurt, happiness, and shock. The next thing he knew, he was caught off guard as Kurenai pulled him into a hug. What were you thinking? You had me worried so much. Naruto heard Kurenai say. I'm sorry. Naruto said as he returned the hug back. Is she crying? She is. Oh god, what did I do? Kurenai-chan, please don't cry. Naruto said. Unknown to him he let out the chan in Kurenai's name. At the same time, Kakashi, Zabuza and Haku were watching the couple's lovely session, as to what Kakashi had named it. This is quite interesting. Don't you think, Zabuza-san? Kakashi said with a smirk under his face mask, letting Naruto and Kurenai know their presence. The moment they heard Kakashi's voice, they let go of each other. Kurenai sat up and looked down at the floor, wishing to get sucked by the earth. She hated when Kakashi gets to his teasing mode. Zabuza grinned at the event he had witnessed. He looked at Kakashi and said, "Yay. Very interesting indeed," Zabuza said, putting a stress mark on every word. How are you feeling, Naruto-kun? Haku asked behind her mask. I feel fine. Who are you anyway? Naruto asked. My name is Haku. I'm Zabuza's sister. Haku said as she revealed her smiling face to the young blonde. What? Naruto said, almost shouted. You don't even look close to him. I don't see any family resemblance between the both of you. Naruto said rather loudly, that made the man called Zabuza twitch his eyebrow rather at a fast speed. Baka. I adopted Haku back when she was still a child. Zabuza said. Oh, that's probably the reason why she wouldn't look close to you. She's too pretty to be your sister. Naruto said as she tried to stand up with success. By the time he was on his feet, Naruto noticed Zabuza's twitching eyebrow, but he didn't notice Haku's flushed cheeks. After a couple of hours, Naruto found himself in front of the dining table with everybody else. Naruto sighed, not really knowing why. What are you sighing about, Kit? Kyuubi asked to his jailer. It's nothing, furball. I just miss the ramen back at Konoha. Naruto replied. The ramen or the ramen girl, what was her name? Kyuubi said with a grin on his face. Ayame. It's not her, it's the ramen, okay? That I assure you. Naruto replied. Ooh, looks who's acting guilty. Kyuubi said with a chuckle. You furball, I am not acting guilty. Naruto said in defense. Ooh, maybe it's those purple-haired kunoichis. I can't blame you, they're quite beautiful if you ask me. Kyuubi stopped and took a look at his jailer, who had a blank look on his face. It's not them. It's the ramen, okay? Ramen as in ramen ramen. Naruto said. Right, blame it all to the cup of noodles. Kyuubi stopped while his jailer sighed in his mind and in the real world as well. Okay, so what about you and your Kurenai-chan? Kyuubi added, making the real Naruto to become red if not redder. Single quote comma single quote. Ha, it is her. I knew it. I knew it. Kyuubi singed inside Naruto's mind. Singing something with the only lyrics is I knew it, I knew it. Unknown to Naruto, some people in the dining area were starting to get worried to the young blonde. Naruto hadn't touched his food for quite a while now. Naruto. Kurenai patted his shoulder. She could see him red, flush red. In her mind she was wondering what was happening to him. After 5 seconds Naruto looked up and saw his sensei looking at him. Yes, sensei. Naruto asked with innocent eyes. Kurenai sighed. Ototo, are you feeling well? You haven't touched your food. Kakashi said in behind. I'm fine. I was just thinking about something, Ni-chan. Naruto said as he picked up his spoon and started to eat his porridge. After an hour or so, Tazuna decided to go to the market to buy some groceries since they were running short in their stocks. Tazuna told Kakashi that he will be out for some groceries with Naruto to stretch his muscles is what the old man suggested. Currently with Naruto and Tazuna, Tazuna stopped and looked at the ninja before him. Naruto had this questioning look on his face that said, "What are you thinking, old man?" kind of look. Tazuna held out his grocery list and a few bills from his wallet and gave it to Naruto. Buy them, I'll just watch you. Tazuna said. What? Naruto said, but reluctantly he just took both items from Tazuna. Naruto looked at the list that contained 3 pieces of radish, 5 pieces of eggs, 2 kilos of meat, pork, and fish, 1 kilo of tofu, 1 kilo of shrimp, 2 packs of nori. Tazuna-san, I don't think these 1500.00 ryu is enough for all of these. Naruto said as he was pushed and semi-dragged to their first stop, the vegetable shop. Naruto looked at the person guarding the store. He noticed that it was a girl, probably Haku's age, was looking at him as well. The girl wasn't glaring at him just like the villagers do when he was going buy stuff for his apartment. This was different, it has something in it that Naruto couldn't put his finger in it. Naruto was about to ask the price for the radish when someone interfered. 2 samurais that had similar clothing with the ones who had attacked yesterday came. The sound of sword clashing with the air brought Naruto's polite face down to something else. Naruto told Tazuna to stay beside the girl behind her shop. Naruto loosened his stance. Everybody saw both Naruto's feet bouncing and his face was neutral, not giving any emotions to his opponent. What are you trying to do? Mock us to death? The bald samurai said. The said bald samurai was readying himself as well. He ordered his comrade to do it as well, but he was too dumbfounded when his comrade's katana was gone. This is quite a beautiful sword, if you ask me. The bald samurai looked at the owner of the voice, which belonged to the blonde boy who took a Genjutsu stance as well. Can we do this fast? I have to buy these groceries, nay. Naruto said in his natural tone. Silence filled the marketplace. Everybody was looking at them and to the blonde boy who had managed to snag the opponent's katana. They all had the same thoughts running in their minds like the bald samurai. How the heck did he do that? Take him out. The other enemy samurai said. It rang to the bald samurai's mind like a big boom. He attacked Naruto fast, but he noticed that he just slashed the air as if the said blonde boy wasn't there. On top of you. The bald samurai's comrade shouted. But before the bald samurai could look, he already felt the earth on his face and a slight lump on the back of his head. What the? He managed to say before passing out. As for the other enemy samurai, Naruto threw back his sword, making the samurai fall backwards. He immediately got up and carried his comrade away from the blonde, dangerous boy, as he had commented in his mind. Once Naruto saw that the enemies were gone, he turned back to his polite facade to Tazuna and to the storekeeper, who had, by the way, hearts on her eyes just like the other storekeepers. After a couple of minutes, both Tazuna and Naruto went back to Tazuna's house with 2 fully loaded grocery bags in each arm. By the time they entered the house, they were greeted with questioning looks on their faces. Where's the feast, Tazuna-san? Kakashi asked. You didn't spend all the money, didn't you, father? Tsunami said as she looked at the grocery bags. Oh, how shall I say this? I got a lot of discounts today, Tazuna said. Discount? Since when do those ladies ever give you a discount? Tsunami asked, eyeing her father. At this point, everybody was in the kitchen, hearing their conversation. Oh, Naruto did it, actually. Tazuna said, making Naruto scratch the back of his head. Your brother is quite lucky with the females, if I may add. Tazuna said to Kakashi rather loudly, that made everyone in the room look at the blonde who fighting not to blush at the moment. How did you do it? Kiba asked. Do what? Naruto said, still not getting what was the main topic. You've managed to get really rare high discounts, how did you do it? Tsunami asked. I guess I just walked up to the storekeeper and asked how much does it cost. Naruto said. Right. Kiba said. Did they ask you something? Tsunami asked. Actually, they did. They asked me if I was a relative of yours, but then Tazuna-san said I was a visiting relative of yours, do you believe that? But then some were asking for my name, age, where I live, but they got disappointed with the age, though. But then again, they asked me if I was interested in older women. Naruto said. So what was your answer? Haku asked. Naruto said as he was in a thinking position. My answer was, I don't know. Since I really don't know what they were talking about, hey, what's wrong with you guys? You all had the same expression with the ones at the market. Naruto said. Kakashi laughed and caught Naruto by the neck, brushing his hair in the process. Come on, you and your teammates will train with us today. Kakashi said. Outside Tazuna's house, there stood Team 7 and 8 along with Zabuza and Haku. All of the genin sat at the ground while the others were different. Kakashi was explaining to the genins something about tree climbing and chakra control until someone was yawning. Kakashi looked who was disturbing his class, only to find Naruto yawning and covering his mouth as he yawned. Naruto. Kakashi yelled and took out a kunai and threw it to the said blonde, who managed to catch it attentively. Go and climb that tree without using your hands, now. Sasuke smirked at this. You're not so great now, are you, Dobi? Sasuke thought. Naruto got to his feet and went to the said tree. He crouched a little, bringing both of his feet apart. He formed a tiger seal and started to store enough chakra to his feet. Once he had enough chakra, he started to run up to the tree and then he began to walk up to reach to the top. He could see everybody from the top. He backflipped and caught a branch and another branch until he reached the lower part of the tree, the ground. Most of the genins were telling him, how did you do that? And, that was amazing, something like that. Naruto threw back the kunai to Kakashi, who caught it easily. Meanwhile, Sakura could swear her crush was glaring at Naruto. He's been acting weird since yesterday. Sakura thought. Her reverie was cut off when Kakashi patted her at the back. Behind him was Hinata and Haku. You're going with them, practice your tree climbing at that side. Kakashi said as he pointed at the other side of the clearing, namely, the right side of the training ground. On the left side were the boys while at the right were the girls. At the girls' side, Haku was the first one to finish the exercise, followed by Hinata and Sakura at the same time. At the boys' side, Naruto was the first since he had done it in front of their eyes. Kiba and Shino was next to finish. Naruto had offered Sasuke help, but the Uchiha sole survivor refused it quite arrogantly. Instead, Sasuke challenged Naruto to a fight. Fight me, Sasuke said. Naruto looked at Sasuke as if he'd gone crazy. Huh, he said. I said fight me, Uzumaki Naruto. Sasuke said as he pulled out his Fuma Shuriken. Kakashi and Kurenai were about to stop the upcoming fight between their students, but Zabuza stopped them and said, Don't, I want to see what Naruto-kun will do about this mess. Zabuza said. Reluctantly, both Junin stood their ground and watched at their students. No, I won't fight you. You're not my enemy, Sasuke. Naruto said in a calm tone. Sasuke could see Naruto's calm features, but to him it has a different story in it. How dare he act all calm on me? Is he making fun of me? An Uchiha, Sasuke thought. Sasuke didn't reply any further. He just attacked at Naruto with his Fuma Shuriken in hand. Naruto quickly sidestepped away from Sasuke, who already gained his posture from his recent attack. What did I do now? Naruto thought as he blocked the upcoming projectile that was targeted at his head. Sasuke, stop at this instant. Naruto raised his voice, but it only fell to deaf ears. Soon, Naruto saw a familiar set of hand seals. Naruto quickly formed his own set. When Sasuke shouted, Kaden, Gukaku no Jutsu, and let out a large ball-like flames through his mouth, Naruto did the same, only, he called out was, Kaden, Ryuka no Jutsu. It totally covered the grand fireball by a large flame dragon. Once the flames were out, Naruto stopped to observe Sasuke. The said Uchiha prodigy was forming another set of hand seals, but Kakashi was already there stopping the fight, much to Zabuza's dismay. That's enough, Sasuke, Kakashi said as he held Sasuke's arm. Sasuke glared at his sensei with his newly formed Sharingan that had 2 commas on each eye. Then he walked back to Tazuna's house, followed by Sakura behind. Naruto looked at Sasuke's retreating back. His eyes tell everything, but what was it trying to tell? Naruto thought. His train of thoughts was suddenly cut off when Kiba was shaking the hell out of him. That was amazing, Naruto. You beat the hell out of that bastard. Kiba said as he continued to shake his blonde friend. Kiba-san, I think Naruto-san had enough with your shakes. Shino said, making Kiba stop with wide eyes, as well as Naruto, who had gotten away from Kiba's grip. He too stared at the young Aburame with wide eyes. Shino, on the other hand, raised his eyebrow. Have you realized that you let out a couple of words with numerous syllables in it? Naruto said, still disbelieving. Thank you for the observation, Naruto-san. Shino said, there it goes again. Naruto said, honestly Shino, why not talk a lot? Kiba asked. This caused everybody's attention to them since they know that Shino doesn't talk much. I simply talk when it's needed. Shino said. Right, Naruto and Kiba. Everybody's attention altered when they heard someone was calling out for them. Dinner's ready, Tsunami shouted. Once they entered the dining area, they saw Tazuna seated at the middle while the one next to him was new to the group's eyes. They all saw Sasuke and Sakura entered the room. The one next to Tazuna glared at the ninjas. It matches with Hyuga Hiyashi's glare in Hinata's opinion. Why bother helping us? You all will end up dead anyway. The boy said. Naruto had too much of arrogance in one day. Let's just say, Naruto snapped. The one who was seated next to Tazuna was no longer seated in his chair, but rather he was raised against the wall through the collar by Naruto. We ending up dead, yay sure, but at least we died with a fight. Unlike you, who would probably cry and do nothing. Naruto said. Before him was a boy trying not to cry. Once Naruto let go the boy, the said boy cried away, running back to his own room. I lost my appetite. I'm sorry about the commotion. Naruto said, walking away. I'm sorry about Inari. Tsunami said. Is he always like that? Kurenai asked. Tsunami shook her head. No, he was a cheerful boy, but when his father died, Tsunami looked down, not wanting to remember some unwanted memories. Tazuna looked at his daughter with remorse in his eyes. He knew her husband's death hadn't stopped plaguing her and her son's memories. Dinner went with an eerie silence. The only thing that can be heard was the steam being produced by the rice cooker. After dinner, Tsunami decided to take Inari's meal to his room. Meanwhile, Kakashi separated the group once again, the girls at the right and the boys at the left. He told them to sleep early since in the next day Tazuna will have to go to the construction site where the bridge is being built. Later that evening, Kakashi, Kurenai, and Zabuza with Haku planned to take the night's watch, seeing as it wasn't safe for Tazuna's family to be left unprotected even at their sleep. Kakashi and Zabuza were at the backyard while Kurenai was at the front porch. Haku, on the other hand, was at the roof surveying the ones below. Kurenai was leaning at the wall at the front porch. She had been guarding there for almost 15 minutes now. She thought that she had heard some footsteps from the inside until the sound became more defined. Did somebody come in unnoticed? Kurenai thought. She formed a series of hand seals and whispered a jutsu that made her invisible. Once Kurenai managed to come inside, she concealed her chakra as low as possible. By the time she saw the source of the noise, she stopped walking. She noticed a familiar voice talking with itself. Kurenai walked closely to see who was there at this mere moment. Sighs, she always tells me to seek the underneath of the underneath. His eyes tell everything but I can't still see it. What would you do if you were at my place, sensei? A voice said to no one in particular. Kurenai took this moment to enter the scene. Have you tried harder? Kurenai asked. This caused the owner of the voice to turn to see who was there behind him. Kurenai-sensei. Naruto said. Can't sleep? Kurenai asked. Naruto only shook his head in response. He saw her walk outside the front door. Soon, he followed her. It was 2 o'clock in the early morning at that time. Cold air was present. It made the night chilly. Naruto tucked out his jacket and placed it on Kurenai, who was seating at the stairway of the front porch. Kurenai, on the other hand, was caught off guard when Naruto placed his jacket on her. She looked at him with a tint of pink on her face. When she remembered what she had done back at the guest room, she was now trying not to blush furiously. She was thankful that Naruto's jacket served as a cover from her blush. It took her at least 20 minutes to gather or to complete her speech, but when she was about to speak, she saw Naruto asleep leaning at the wooden rails, face down. Kurenai smiled at this. She gently placed Naruto's jacket on him as he continued with his slumber beside Kurenai. Nami no Zaisho. Day 2. Morning breeze, calm, cool and gentle, it flowed softly, making the leaves swirl in various directions. At the same moment, the sun chose to rise up and to make known its presence. Slowly, the cool breeze and the warmth coming from the sun, coupled together, harmonizing, making a new feeling. The morning rays slowly crept its way to the residents' eyes, making them awake. Some grunted, sighed, while some shrugged. Meanwhile, outside Tazuna's door, a certain blonde gradually opened his eyes. He noticed that he had fallen asleep outside Tazuna's door. He saw his jacket on him as if someone had placed it while he was sleeping. He remembered he had placed it on Kurenai. He can even smell a hint of her scent in his jacket. Oi Naruto, did you sleep here outside Tazuna's house? Kiba said as he walked to his blonde friend with Hinata behind. Of course not, I just woke up early, that's all. Naruto said, not really wanting to tell the truth. Right, Tsunami-san said that breakfast will be ready soon. When Naruto heard the word breakfast, there was an audible grumble, audible enough for Team 8 to hear. Naruto just scratched the back of his head while on his face was a sheepish grin on it. You shouldn't have skipped dinner last night, Naruto. Hinata said while Akamaru barked in agreement. Come on, let's go in, I can already smell Tsunami-san's cooking. Kiba said as he placed his young pup on the floor. Soon, the dining area was filled with people and dog for Akamaru's case. Tazuna announced that he will be at the construction site after breakfast. Both Leaf Junins agreed to take Tazuna at the construction site with Zabuza, but this time Haku won't be with Zabuza. Haku was ordered to stay here with the other genins to guard and protect Tazuna's family just in case Getu decided to take them as hostages. Haku interrupted their plan and said, why not put Tazuna's family and the villagers in a secluded place? I'm sure once Getu decided to attack, he won't care about the casualties. The workers and the villagers will be at stake as well. Haku said. Once Haku was finished with her speech, a loud gong was heard. Tazuna knew what was that gong for. The ninjas looked at the bridge builder and asked what that was about. Tazuna looked at them with beads of sweat forming on his forehead. He had the same look back when he saw Kurenai's eyes. It's Getu, he's at the construction site. Tazuna said. Meanwhile, at the said bridge site, Getu's men, ranging from bandits, swordsmen, and new cannons, were at the site. It caused the workers to flee out of fear. Once the workers were about to reach the end of the bridge, they all saw a group of ninjas with Tazuna and his family in tow. Both Leaf Junins and Mist ninjas stayed to protect the bridge while the Genins were ordered to place the villagers and the workers as well as Tazuna's family in a safe clearing. When Zabuza formed a familiar set of hand seals in Kakashi's opinion, Kakashi turned to Sasuke and Kiba. Sasuke, Kiba, both of you will be in charge of the villagers' safety. Kakashi said and turned to Hinata. You will lead them to a safe place. 3 Genins nodded their heads. The Genins ran with Hinata leading the way. It only took them at least 3 minutes to find a safe spot. They were contemplating whether if some of them will have to go back to help their senseis. Shino and Kiba decided to stay to protect the others while Naruto and Sasuke agreed to go back and help. Sakura was about to say that she wants to go with Naruto and Sasuke but Naruto beat her up to it. Hinata should come with us. Her Byakugan can see through the mist Zabuza-san had made. Naruto said. Sakura was about to complain but when she saw Sasuke's eyes turn into something different, she just nodded in response. Naruto saw Sasuke's eyes. There, he saw the Sharingan. Sasuke had 2 commas on each eye. Anyo, we should hurry up to help back our senseis. Hinata whispered loud enough for them to hear. Without thinking, they all run fast to the bridge where the fight had already begun. At the bridge, Kakashi with his Chidori was attacking one of the Nukenins. Zabuza with his Kubikiri Haucho was currently blocking the attacks of 3 swordsmen. Haku managed to kill most of the bandits with her Maku Hyusho. Kurenai with her Kokuangyo no Jutsu, she managed to slay at least 2 Nukenins with her Genjutsu. Zabuza was about to say to Gedu, give up, until, they all heard a vaguely loud thump that made the bridge quake. Now, behind Gedu was a giant which everyone thought. The Genin group that consists of Hyuga Hinata, Uchiha Sasuke, and Uzumaki Naruto, came. They managed to see who their superior's opponent was. From their point of view, that being was beyond enormous. He's taller than Gai-san. Naruto. What the heck? Sasuke. Hinata. I like you all to meet Okubo, your doom. Gedu smiled and left with his attendant. He waved a farewell to the ninjas at the bridge as he escaped in his boat. Kakashi surveyed the one in front of him and his comrades. From what he can tell, this match will be different. Why left a single man to fight with us? Gedu only used those men a while ago to make us exhausted for this major fight. How could I not see it? Darn it, Kakashi thought. He looked at Zabuza who was looking at him as well. Haku was looking at her Aniki. From what she could see, Zabuza and Kakashi had a plan under their sleeves. Zabuza tightened his grip on his Kubikiri Haucho while Kakashi formed a set of hand seals and held his right wrist. After a couple of seconds, a sound of creaking can be heard all over the place. Zabuza looked at Kakashi who nodded in response. With a fast blur, Kakashi and Zabuza attacked at the man before them. Kakashi on the top with his Chidori while Zabuza below with his Kubikiri Haucho. Everybody would have thought that their attack would be a success but on the contrary it failed miserably. Okubo caught Kakashi by the arm while Zabuza's attack was blocked only by Okubo's arm shield. What the? He should be cut in half not like this. Zabuza thought. His reverie was cut off when he and Kakashi got thrown to the wooden railings of the bridge, making them unconscious in the process. Haku ran for Zabuza while Naruto ran for Kakashi. Kurenai was about to stop Naruto but Okubo moved in, giving Kurenai a knee kick on her stomach. The force and pressure made her cough blood and flew back but Okubo managed to catch her by the hair, making Kurenai wince in pain. Hinata managed to shout out Kurenai's name out of fear. Haku, Hinata, Sasuke were about to attack but something was off. They couldn't move. Okubo looked at them with a sly smile on his face. Can't move. This technique is called Kanashibari no Jutsu, surprised. I see. Okubo said. Okubo saw the blonde boy glaring at him as if the said blonde was trying to pierce Okubo's eyes. You care for this pitiful woman. Okubo smirked and looked at Kurenai's features with malice in his eyes as he licked the trickle of blood from her chin. This caused Naruto to get even more enraged. Why won't you try and catch her then? Naruto watched as Okubo raised Kurenai once again. Okubo clenched his fist and did something unforgivable in Naruto's opinion. Okubo punched Kurenai at the stomach, making her fall off the bridge. Naruto didn't have to think any other things. He ran after Kurenai, who was on the process of falling. He jumped down to race forward to her body. Once he had held her safe, he changed their position so that he could break her fall since he knew that Kyuubi could heal him. Naruto. Kurenai managed to stutter. She could see her surroundings were upside down. It was until now that she remembered what that bastard, Okubo did to her. She noticed the position they were in. Oh no. If we reach the bottom, Naruto-kun will receive the blow. Kurenai thought as she tried to change it, but to no avail. Naruto was holding her tight. His eyes were closed as if waiting for the blow to occur. Back with Kakashi and Zabuza, they managed to recover back in time and saw Naruto jump down the bridge to catch Kurenai. Kakashi noticed Haku, Hinata, and Sasuke immobilized from where they stood. He immediately countered the said jutsu, freeing the three of them. Zabuza took his chance to challenge Okubo in an all-out Genjutsu match while Kakashi made sure that the others were okay. With Shino, Kiba, and Sakura, they took notice that Inari was on top of a table, shouting for attention. Tsunami was telling Inari to go down from there, but Inari was still shouting until he got everyone's fair attention. What's the matter with you? A villager asked. Inari just glared at the villager and said, "Listen up. Our friends are out there risking their lives just to save us. We should go there and help them." Inari shouted. "But what can we possibly do?" Another villager asked. "We fight with all we've got," Inari said. He could some villagers murmuring about something. Tsuzuno was about to say something when a villager yelled, "Let's show them what we've got." Soon, there were people walking to the bridge. They could see Zabuza fighting with an enormous enemy even bigger than Zabuza. In the meantime, Kurenai was in panic. Panic for her life and panic for Naruto. He hadn't responded in all of her callings. Kurenai could see the water below them clearly, but something was off. They stopped just before they could hit the water. She could hear Naruto panting, and above all she could see a pair of black wings at Naruto's back. "Kurenai-sensei, how are you feeling?" Naruto asked as he shifted their position. They were floating above the water. Kurenai hadn't answered yet. She was still looking at his black wings. "I take it that you're alright," she heard him say. Soon, they were flying up to the bridge. Once they got there, they both saw Zabuza being thrown to the wooden railings again. Kakashi noticed Naruto's and Kurenai's presence, but his line of sight was focused to Naruto, who had a pair of black wings on his back. Okubo noticed the blonde boy and the woman he abused a while ago. He took this opportunity to charge at them. He tightened his grip on both of his axe. Kakashi noticed this. He was about to warn Naruto and Kurenai until. "What the?" Okubo said. In front of him was the said blonde and the woman, only, they were covered by the blonde boy's wings. Okubo moved back and saw the wings were slowly revealing Naruto with Kurenai. Naruto walked to Okubo, who stepped back for every step Naruto did. "You," Okubo heard Naruto say. Naruto took another step. By the time his ankle reached the ground, he vanished in thin air. Okubo was frankly looking everywhere. The only thing that he did see was a flash of yellow and black. Everybody saw Naruto spun vertically. Naruto managed to kick Okubo at the jaw 2 times as he spun. Okubo immediately collected himself. He saw Naruto forming a set of hand seals and shouted, "Raiden, Shirai no Jutsu, lightning release, lightning strike technique." The moment the technique was released, Okubo could see a dragon-shaped lightning coming his way. Unfortunately for Okubo, the technique closes its target for a sure kill. As a result, Okubo lay lifeless on the floor while Naruto fell to his knees, unconscious, as his wings dissipated as well. At the very same moment, the villagers and other leaf ninjas came. They managed to witness how Naruto defeated the man before him, Okubo. After the bridge incident, the villagers decided to name the bridge as the Naruto Great Bridge, much to Inari's perseverance. Nabankari. Aftermath. Noon. Outside Konoha Hospital stood 3 people. The first one carried flowers in her arms. The second one carried plastic bags with bento boxes in it. The third one carried an orange book in his hand. Once they walked inside the said hospital, they went straight to the nurse's counter to ask for their friend brother's room number. After a couple of minutes, they were at the 3rd floor corridor. Of all the strange things that they had seen in their entire life was different from this one. Before them was Konohagakure no Sato's Sandaime Hokage, Sarutobi, listening, eavesdropping intently behind Uzumaki Naruto's door. Hokage-sama, what are you doing? Sandaime heard a woman's voice say. By the time Sandaime turned, he saw Hatake Kakashi, Azuki Yugo, and Mitarashi Anko, looking at him with a questioning look on their faces. But before he could answer, Naruto's door swung open, revealing Yuahi Kurenai. She looked at the newcomers with a surprised, shocked expression on her face. Naruto-kun's awake now. Kurenai said. With her statement, both purple-haired kunoichis and the Sandaime Hokage walked inside the room, leaving Kurenai with Kakashi and the closed door. Kakashi looked at Kurenai as if the said copy nin was trying to read Kurenai's eyes. From his opinion, there was something evident in those wine-red eyes. Maybe that was the reason why the Hokage was listening behind Naruto's door. Where you've been crying? Kakashi asked. Kurenai looked shocked as she faced the floor. Of course not. What are you trying to say? Kurenai asked. Nothing. Kakashi paused. Tell me, do you like my odoto? Kakashi asked as he stared at the ceiling. Huh, what? I was thinking of the possible answers as why were you crying? I had 3 answers. First, Naruto's health became critical. Second, you were so worried for Naruto-kun's life, just like back at Tazuna's house. While the third one was, you're afraid that Naruto will never come back to you ever again because you like him. But I doubt the first one, as we can see a while ago that Naruto is okay. So now I am dropped to my second and third answer. So we're back to my original question again. Do you like my odoto? Kakashi said like it was a daily basis. Kurenai was shrinking fast, whether it was by embarrassment or something else. She looked at the floor once again. How come I can't answer this lame question? Is it really lame? You did cry a while ago. Inner Kurenai said. 1 hour before. In room 308, white sheets were slowly shifting. The person beside the one on the bed had a worried look on her face. Her wine-red eyes had a sore look in it, making it puffy. The one on the bed was slowly turning and shifting on his bed. The one beside him could hear some murmuring sounds that she couldn't comprehend. On her seat, she saw the one she was watching slowly sat up, looking at her as she looked at him as well. The next thing this watcher knew, her eyes started to water up as she pulled the one on the bed into a hug. Kurenai-sensei, what's wrong? The one on the bed asked as he returned the hug. While this watcher was crying, she too was asking herself why she was crying. She gently pulled apart and said, I'm sorry, I think I'll go outside for a while. Kurenai said quickly as she moved to the door. It only revealed Anko, Yugo, Kakashi, and the Hokage. Present time. Kurenai sighed. Of all the times her inner self had to show up, why her? What are you saying, Kakashi? Kurenai whispered, still looking at the floor. Kakashi smiled. Piece of advice, try to sort out your feelings before moving into action. Kurenai looked at Kakashi as he opened Naruto's door, leaving her behind. Ni-san, did you bring any of my clothes? Naruto asked. Why bother? Have you looked at yourself on the mirror? Kakashi said. What? Are you stating that I became fat? Naruto asked, which caused Sandaime to chuckle. No, from what I can remember you were just around 4 feet high, but now you're almost as tall as Shino, if not, maybe even taller than him. Kakashi said. You're kidding me, right? How can I become that tall? Naruto stopped as he saw himself on the mirror with wide eyes. I think I'll go to the bathroom. Naruto said. Meanwhile inside the bathroom, Naruto was mentally talking with Kyuubi. Hey kid, what's up? Kyuubi asked as his jailer was practically racing inside the bathroom. What do you mean, what's up? What did you do to me? Naruto asked. Oh that, I just messed with your height and etc. That's all. I have to admit that Ayeka lady did pull a lot of strings around you. Kyuubi said like it was a normal thing to say. Unfortunately for Naruto, he had the urge to faint or to scream. Now fainting would not be a good idea, same with screaming as well. After a couple of minutes, he walked back to his room, where a nurse came in with a paper bag in hand and a bouquet of flowers on the other hand. You must be Uzumaki Naruto. A package from the counter was delivered a while ago and here's the note. The nurse said as she was checking up on the said patient's well-toned body in Anko's opinion. It came with the clothes and flowers as well. The nurse added. Soon she left the patient's room for another duty. The moment the word, clothes, came out from the nurse's lips, all of the visitors were looking at each other. That was strange. They all took notice that Naruto was smiling as he saw the note. Both Kakashi and Anko got curious who could possibly give Naruto a new set of clothes and a bouquet of red flowers. At the same time, they both took the card from Naruto, but when they were about to read it they were thinking the same thing. A blank note. What? Naruto asked with a smirk on his face. Is this some kind of a trick, Naruto? Anko asked. Give me that. Kakashi said as he activated his Sharingan to see if there was any Genjutsu place on the note, but he didn't found one. There's a Genjutsu placed on that note. Naruto said. How did you know? I didn't even detect it with my Sharingan. Kakashi said. Naruto chuckled while Anko raised an eyebrow, waiting for an answer. How shall I say this? It's a complicated Genjutsu. All you have to do is to drop a part of the original receiver's blood of that note. Naruto said in a matter-of-fact kind of way. Yugo was watching this, obviously intrigued, while Sandaime was left sitting on his chair. Naruto was at the front. Anko was about to slice a part of Naruto's skin, but Kakashi and Yugo stopped the Tokubetsu Jonin before her kunai was about to scratch the blonde's skin. What? Naruto-kun said in order to dispel that Genjutsu it need Naruto-kun's blood. Anko said. It needs a droplet, not a cup of blood. Yugo said, but before everyone started to rumble again. Sandaime made his presence known again. Ahem, Naruto, I'm sure they won't mind if you show them that note later. Sarutobi said, but then continued. There's something I want to see, that is if you want Anko-chan and Yugo-chan to see it as well. Kakashi knew what was the Hokage was talking about. Probably, that was his main reason why Sandaime was here aside from visiting Naruto. Naruto looked at Kakashi, who nodded in response. Naruto sighed and then he took off his shirt. Unknown to him, he got the women's attention through the way Naruto's body moved, making his newly formed six-packs, courtesy of Ayeka's training, move slowly. He turned his back, revealing his black wings to everybody else. Naruto turned around again to face everyone this time. Nobody had noticed his progress because of his baggy jumpsuit, so the ones before him were either speechless or surprised. Tell me something that I don't know, Sandaime Gigi. How did I get these wings? Naruto asked. Sighs, Naruto, those wings came from your mother's bloodline. It is in their only lineage to have wings. Unfortunately, her family and clan were slowly vanishing from existence even before the Kyuubi attacked. For now, you are the only one who has that unique bloodline limit. I'm sorry to tell, but I don't know any way to develop your Kurotenshi Tsubasa, Wings of the Dark Angel. It's what your mother's family calls it, but there's someone that I know who can, hopefully. Sarutobi said, which earned him a smile from Naruto. Anyo, Sandaime Gigi, do you know who are my parents? Naruto said. Your mother's name is Yakumo Mizuo, she died giving birth to you. I'm sorry, I can't tell you everything for now. I hope you can understand, Naruto-kun. Sarutobi said, looking at the blonde. Naruto gave a small smile and said. It's better than nothing, right? Besides, I'm sure you'll tell me everything that I need to know when the time comes. One more thing, am I allowed to use these wings in the public's eyes? Naruto asked. Seeing that you've activated it in front of your fellow leaf nins, why not? Besides, rumors fly faster than hawks do. Sandaime said with a grin. Naruto, on the other hand, gave the old man one of his famous fox grins. Can we please read that note? Anko said, breaking the moment. Sarutobi had a visible sweat drop at the back of his head. He just sighed and muttered something about a childish woman. The moment Naruto let a droplet of his blood sink into the paper, the red stain became the note's ink. Before them was the note's message. For them it was kind of written in a different language, but Naruto said it was a form of secret messaging and all you have to do was to place the note in front of a mirror. The reflection in the mirror revealed the note's message that said, "Hey there Gaki. Sorry I can't deliver the clothes myself. But rest assured that I'll be back in the village just like what I've promised you before. Your clothes should fit you well and thank the kamis that you won't be wearing those horrid flashy orange jumpsuits of yours. The color is making me want to burn them with a Genjutsu, seriously. You'll see me when you'll see me. Your sensei, Ayeka." Naruto smiled as he read the note. Ayeka sensei hadn't forgotten her humor. He thought. He let the note beside the flowers and picked up the new set of clothes Ayeka had given him. After a couple of minutes, everybody saw a new Naruto, who was clad in beige pants and red long-sleeved shirt that was hugging his broad shoulders fairly while his hitai was tied at his forehead. This new Naruto now looked more advanced than the ones in his age group. He no longer had his puppy fats, he grew some of his hair, and most of all he looked like a spitting image of his father. Is there something on my face? Naruto asked. Ladies, please stop drooling over my little brother. Kakashi said. Sarutobi chuckled. I think I'll go sign your discharge papers. Would you rather come with me, Naruto-kun? Sandaime said. Hi, Oji-san. Naruto said as he quickly took the bouquet of red flowers in his arms. He was the one who was practically close to the door. By the time he opened the said door, it revealed Kurenai leaning on the said door. Due to the law of physics, what comes up must come down, right? In a swift moment, Naruto caught Kurenai, one arm at the neck and the other was at her waist, hugging her with the bouquet of red flowers in the process. Kurenai was only supported by Naruto's arms and both of her legs. Fortunately, Kurenai slipped, making Naruto's lips fall down to Kurenai's. I told you what comes up must come down. Wow Naruto, I didn't know you had it in you. Anko said. With her statement Naruto and Kurenai pulled away fast, both blushing. Naruto was looking at the ceiling then to the window with flushed cheeks by the way, while Kurenai was looking at her trusty floor with red cheeks. Like how many times had I looked at the floor? She asked herself. Sarutobi chuckled again but this time it was louder than before. Ha ha, what would Guy-san say if he saw this? Sandaime said. He'll burst out talking something about the flames of youth is burning within you. Anko said as she made a good guy pose. After the good 5 minutes of laughter, they started walking to the lobby of the hospital. In the front were Sandaime and Naruto who was carrying a bouquet of red flowers which gave him looks from the nurses in the hallways. At the back were Kakashi who was back to reading his orange book and Kurenai who was back looking at the floor. In front of them were Anko and Yugo who were looking at the blonde in front of them.